Is this?
Good afternoon. We're back with ITV. I'm Colton Ruffalo, joined by Evan Ford, Ryan Conlon, and we're here to talk about NBA basketball. So first off, I have to say, huge win for the Lakers. That was an incredible game.
Yeah, LA battle, maybe.
Especially, I mean, definitely LA battle. That was a great game. I loved watching that one. Down 19 in the start of the fourth, and then they made a comeback. LeBron had 19 points in that fourth quarter, compared to the Clippers only having 16 as a whole for the whole team, 16 points the whole quarter.
That's what
embarrassing.
LeBron does.
That's
what LeBron does.
That's why I think he's the greatest
I
all-around
agree,
player of
I
all
agree.
time. But we're not getting
Yeah,
into this
that's
argument.
gonna take way too long.
We're not
It's gonna
getting
take
into
way
this
too long.
argument. No, I think this isn't the biggest rivalry in the NBA. It's not even the biggest like Lakers rivalry we've got.
No.
But it's still one of my favorites to watch because the Clippers have been on fire this year, and the Lakers have been admittedly mid, but I still enjoy watching them a lot.
Right, yeah. How couldn't you? I mean, how couldn't you enjoy watching them? I mean, the Clippers, I mean, they've been good. They've been a little inconsistent, but the Lakers, I mean, like Evan said, they've been kind of mid this year, but they're always a team where you see the Lakers on. Even you look at their record, you just look at their roster and you want to watch the game. That's what the appeal of the Lakers is. And
That's right.
This game kind of showcased that perfectly.
I mean, so long as the Lakers make it past the play-in, I think they're a genuine threat to at least make a
always,
conference
yeah,
finals.
always.
That's right.
I mean, they're what? I think they're back to the 9 seed. But the Warriors actually did take the 9 seed over the Lakers for like just a split second. But
That's
now
right.
that they beat the Clippers, they're now back in the 9 seed. So there's still a few games of like differential between the Mavs. I think the Mavs are 8 or it's the Kings, something like that. But one of those two teams is close. So hopefully the Lakers can at least get like a high playing spot. If we can get like the 7 or 8 seed, that'd be really good because then that gives us like way better chances.
Like Evan said, I mean, I don't think there's any team that I would be more. If you're a different team and you're going up into the playing game facing the Lakers, I'd be worried. Especially, I mean, the experience and depth that they have on their team.
I mean, if it is the Warriors versus the Lakers, then the Lakers are going to win because I mean we've already seen so far in the regular season it's been close, but the Lakers have been winning. I think the last time they actually did play each other, the Lakers actually did lose, but the first time they played them, the Lakers won in double overtime. I think great game there as well, but. I mean, just overall, I think LA as a whole, I think, has been doing really good. Especially, like, looking at the Clippers, I mean, they have a good roster. It's been surprising what they've been doing. Evan, any thoughts?
Yeah, right.
LeBron is 39 years old. He's the oldest guy in the league, right? But he is still average. I mean, you can see the grays on his beard, but I mean, he's still one of the most entertaining players to watch. He's some of the greatest vision that we've ever seen on a player.
Yeah.
You combine that with athleticism and just.
Then you put like young, growing players around him, and one thing that we've seen from the Lakers is he can make almost anyone on the court better, and that's been a big part of their ability to win, even when they're not really supposed to be honest.
That's right.
Like you look at them going up against the 4th team in the West here as a 10 seed. I mean, no one. You like I said earlier that they could always come out and win any day, but I don't think anyone really expected the Warriors to come back from a deficit or the Lakers to come back from a deficit like that and win this game.
I mean, crazy game, but I want to look at the Clippers. I mean, it's like the Clippers are doing something right because last season it didn't really click, but this season they're doing something really good. So I want to know if you guys have any thoughts on like what's causing the Clippers to do like really good this season.
It's James Harden. I mean, ever since Harden joined the Clippers, they have had one of the best records in the league. I mean, sure, they're still, what, 4th, 3rd in the West? Fourth. They were 3rd for a little while. But they have been, I mean, genuinely one of the best teams in the West. I mean, honestly, if the Clippers weren't notorious playoff chokers, they would be my pick to make the finals, honestly. Yeah. I think that they have had the most momentum just since that Harden trade because he's been such a game changer for them. I mean, having Russ coming off the bench, too. I mean, it's just such
good depth.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
I mean, how many times could you say James Harden joining a team is a benefit to them? I mean, how is this the first time you could say that? Like, where it actually is going to turn out positively in the end in the playoffs and result in actual success. But, I mean, you look at this team, and this is something where like Evan said, it's a real possibility to go deep into the playoffs to the finals.
I mean, there's no guarantee that they
No,
do.
definitely.
I mean, we've seen Kawhi carry a team before. We've seen. Did Paul George make a finals? I don't even know.
No, but he went in
No.
the playoffs with Russ.
Yeah, that's right.
OKC.
I think that if Kawhi has another crazy run, I mean, he's been. As long as he stays healthy, as long as the Clippers can stay healthy, they'll be amazing.
Yeah.
I
I
think.
think that's what's bugged them for most of this
That's
run
right,
with
yeah.
this core group.
Yeah, the thing with the Clippers that they kind of stay healthy. That's their biggest issue, and they're playing great basketball. But Kawhi's notorious for getting injured. So is Paul George. I mean, James Harden came off an injury a little bit ago, and that's the hardest thing I think is just health. Because if they stay healthy, I mean, they're going to stay. I think around the. I think they could probably be around the 3 to the 5 seed. Anywhere
agree,
there, I
yeah.
think is definitely respectable for them.
Absolutely.
They're probably sitting at about like where the Nuggets are at or the Suns, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, the Nuggets being returning champions, they haven't dominated as much as you would expect them to. I mean, Jokic is still arguably the best player in the league, averaging nearly a triple-double.
Yeah. But, I mean, you saw him get knocked out for a little bit. I mean, there were periods in there where they struggled. Like Evan said, they really haven't been. They've been good. They've definitely been good, but they haven't been like overpoweringly good.
I mean, yeah,
like they
there's
were last year.
still a 3 seed. It's not
No,
bad at
definitely,
all.
definitely.
But I mean, I think
It's just you haven't really seen that type of dominance that you've seen in the past.
that's right. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of the seeding, the Timberwolves are the first, OKC 2, like we said, the Nuggets are the third, Clippers 4, Suns 5.
I mean, what do you guys feel like OKC has done so right this year to kind of get things?
it's really
yeah.
confusing
Yeah.
because
It's just a young team.
I mean, it's really young. Shea's
yeah.
playing great basketball. They have a healthy Chet Holmgren now. I think that was a big,
definitely.
I mean,
game changer for
Chet
them.
is such a
Chet.
huge game
Yeah.
changer. I mean, such a force in the paint on offense and defense. I mean, one
Right.
of the best shot blockers of like this era. In all honesty.
And then I mean, you have Shea, like Colton said, in there, like putting together a possible MVP season. I mean, these are things that you don't really see from players that young ever. So I mean, OKC's done a lot of things right this year.
I mean, Shea is definitely like a high contender for MVP.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if he made top 3.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to win it, but I think he's top
I
3.
say top 3 at least.
I mean, it's hard to argue against Luka winning MVP this season. He's averaging what, 34 and like.
I think it's.
We don't know the exact
33.
stats.
It's like it was
It's 30.
34.6 for a little while. I mean, this has just been one of the craziest scoring years that we've seen in so long.
It's just they're overall a really good team. I think on every aspect of the floor, they really know how to move around. They really know how to work. Because, I mean, I don't think he's gonna win it, but I think Chet is putting up a good fight for that Rookie of the Year. Even though you
agree.
came off the injury, but I mean, I think he's still definitely coming at least second place, no doubt, for the Rookie of the Year.
I think that Chet has been a piece in a core piece in a really, really good team. Rookie of the Year?
Definitely.
No, but
Definitely in the running.
definitely he's
But,
close.
he's definitely in
Yeah.
the running, but I don't think he's gonna win.
In a year where Victor Wembanyama
Yeah.
isn't a rookie,
Especially
he's
with the NBA.
probably
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year. The only
Right.
problem is he isn't.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, now we gotta look at the East a little bit. Is that I mean, top teams in the East are like the Celtics, the
Look at
Bucks.
the Knicks.
I mean,
what are the injuries? I mean,
don't
what
even
are-
get me started on the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks. I want to get your guys' opinion on it first. I got a few things to say about them. So Colton, what do you feel about the Knicks this year, or
Yeah.
recently in the past couple of weeks with the injuries and stuff that's been going on with them?
I mean, I don't mind the Knicks, but like
Because they're a
sometimes
completely different team now than they were a month
100%.
ago.
It's really different because like especially just seeing Jalen Brunson like how he is. Like Jalen Brunson has become like an actual like all-star caliber
Right, yeah.
player. Because just 2 years ago he was not that kind of player. But
I mean,
ever since he got like his own franchise now, so
Yeah.
like everyone just kind of
Yeah.
surrounds him with all that hype.
think
And
that
I mean, he
that-
completes it.
That and like you that happens a lot in the NBA. I mean, you look at guys that are like kind of overlooked or maybe overshadowed by a superstar that maybe takes the lead on our team, and then you see them take the reins with a new team and they just explode the way Bronson has this year. I mean, if like Evan said, if Luka wasn't having the year he's having, I mean, you could make a strong case for Bronson to be in the top 5 for MVP maybe. I mean, he's had a
Might be a little
tremendous
high.
year. Yeah, it might be, but. I mean, just the value he brings to the Knicks, though, like that's
Yeah.
most valuable player, the award. I mean, just the way what he's done to transform the franchise is something that can't be really overlooked.
I mean, the MVP is like, how much of a difference do
Right,
you
yeah.
make in your team? And I think that's what Jalen Brunson really
Right,
is.
yeah.
I mean, since they gave him the reins, the Knicks do have a good record. I mean, we'll get into them being frauds in just a minute.
And 27,
But
I think.
yeah, I mean, they're doing well,
Yeah.
but they're killing every team that's under 500.
You see they lose to Pelicans, they lose to Celtics in the past couple weeks.
yeah.
I mean, you've seen them take losses to teams that are on the better end of the NBA.
Nah, I mean, they play a team that's above 500.
I mean, they're just kind of like struggling with
Oh, yeah.
if it, like when it's actually like a really competitive game, it's tough for them to like actually capitalize.
Right.
And I mean, outside of New York, I mean, looking at the Bucks, especially with Doc Rivers, I mean that's been really bad. We saw them. They blew up the Hornets by like 50.
It's the curse of Doc Rivers. I'm telling you.
I
Dude.
guess so. I mean, he won the championship with the Celtics in
that's
like
one
09 or 08.
championship though. Like, I mean, you look at he gets put with the Clippers, and you see what happens there. Now he gets put with the Bucks. I mean, I was one of the people that was like kind of a detractor on the signing because a lot of people were like, "Oh, Doc Rivers is a bad signing. He's never gonna lead this team anywhere." Then they get Dame, and you see what happens, and you're just expecting them to win the championship, and now something's gone wrong there that you could see isn't having to do with the talent on the roster clearly. So
I mean, it's been like 2 decades of him actually coaching, and then we even like saw him commentating actually like a little bit. Like before he was even signed with the Bucks, he actually was commentating a little bit. But I mean, just him overall, I don't know. It's literally difficult with like his value because like he has the really good team surrounding him. It's just like you need a good coach to fulfill that, and off the Bucks record with Doc Rivers, it looks negative. It hasn't been very good.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't expecting the Bucks to win it this year, even with getting Dame.
Me neither.
I think that Dame, as amazing of a player as he is, he's an incredible offensive player. I mean, we've seen him like perform on the level that we've kind of expected from him this year. And I mean, they are quickly Dame and Giannis. They're quickly becoming one of the best duos in the league. Yeah. However, I do think they need a little bit of time to develop. But the problem is, how much time can you really give them? I mean, you've got Giannis, who's in the years of his prime right now, and I mean, how much longer do you really have with that? And then you've got the aging Dame, who's only like.
And I mean, I'm not saying Dame's like this kind of player, but I mean, go back to the Blazers with McCollum and stuff. Did he ever lead them? I know he was against the Warriors every year in the Western Conference, so I mean that's tough to get by that dynasty, but. I haven't really been able to see. I think this is a good fit for him because I think he'll just let Giannis like do what he's got to do, and then he'll just fit into that superstar second role because I don't know that Giannis is just going to fill into that leading role on this team well, and I think that's what they should leave it that way.
Right, and I think that adding Dame overall, yeah, sure, it's a benefit for you. However, when you're losing Drew Holiday in that. Yeah. You're losing one of the best defensive guards in the league.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
And now, like, you've taken a step up on offense. I mean, obviously, Dame's a better offensive player than Drew.
Definitely.
No
bias.
No shade towards Drew. He's a great player, but like he's better.
He's not as good as Dame.
He's not as good as Dame. But Dame can't defend for the life of him. I mean,
yeah.
It's
that's probably the biggest flaw. I mean, Drew Holiday in the 2021 season played a really big deal in the championship, and that's what led to them is a lot of defense off of Giannis and Holiday, and then the offense with Chris Middleton and the rest of them.
You put Holiday on the Celtics now, and I mean, you look at the way I don't want to like cross teams, but like look at the difference he's made there. I mean, they're able to kind of just play it. I mean, I think they have a good system instilled there where they just play like team defense well, but you add Holiday to that mix, and that's going to be a really tough team to beat in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. But like, it's kind of like I think that was a good move for the Celtics actually because it was kind of similar. I mean, you had like the defensive point guard for Marcus Smart, but they traded him away to the Grizzlies, and then they ended up picking Drew Holiday instead off of his trade. And I forgot what the trade was, but I think Robert Williams was in that deal.
No, yeah, it was Robert Williams.
Yeah, it was him and I think Malcolm Brogdon and someone else, but I think Drew Holiday is just gonna always play a good role because like he's getting older, but I mean he's still playing decent basketball. I mean,
of course,
his role isn't really to score; it's to defend.
He has so much experience at this point that he can know that he's not going to be the biggest scorer on a Celtics team where you're stacked on offense. So you have 2 or 3 guys that could score in front of him. But I think he understands his role. He's experienced, and he brings a defensive value that they couldn't really gotten on the market at the time in the NBA because you don't. I mean, just in the NBA as a whole, it's a different conversation, but you don't really see people playing defense like that, especially at guard. Like you just mentioned how Dame like is more of a So you get guys that are tremendous scorers, and you get guys that can play perimeter defense like Holiday.
That's right. And I think we've talked about the Bucks, the 3 seed in the East, and the Celtics are just the #1 team in the NBA by like a good couple steps.
Definitely.
But then you've got the second in the East, the Cavs. I mean,
Young
they are
team.
one of my favorite teams to watch, and
Yeah.
personally.
Massive
I mean,
game winner the other day.
That's
You saw that? The half-court shot from Max. Strus
oh
when
yeah,
he
the
gave against
half-court shot
Mavs.
from Max Strus. I mean, just genuinely, I think they get a couple more years for their core players to develop. You get like give Garland and Mobley another year. I think they're genuine like title contenders with the team that they have right now. I think they just need to learn how to like work their guards appropriately with each other.
Yeah, right.
And as soon as they get that done, as soon as they like build that chemistry together, once they have that, they're like crazy.
Because, I mean, I don't think people realize how young this team is. I mean, people last year were saying Max Strus is not going to be the player he is now. And, I mean, look at how much he's developed in 1 year. So, like I said, you were totally right about that. They just need to – I think this is the core to win the championship with them. I don't think they have to change much, but they just have to just get experience. And sometimes that's what it takes.
I mean, he's definitely improved, I think, with the Cavs. Now, I think he's definitely playing better than when he's with the
Right,
Heat.
yeah. That's
Even
what
though-
people are –
I mean,
I
his
remember
team
literally
went
on the
further,
show,
but-
people were talking about Strus not being a player that could really make a big impact, and when they were in the finals, and now he's on a team that's #2 in the East, and right on the Celtics' heels. So.
That's right. Yeah. I think Donovan Mitchell is like arguably like top 3, top 2 shooting guard in the NBA right now.
Definitely.
I mean, he's having a great season, averaging what 28. I don't know, but
Probably somewhere around there.
somewhere around
Yeah.
there. Darius Garland, he's been having a great season. Mobley, I think he's a future decoy. Maybe not this year because you've got like, you've got Gobert who's still just doing Rudy Gobert things. You've got Wembanyama who's just a freak of nature. But once, like I think Mobley gets a couple more years, he's a decoy. I think
Still
he
really
100%
young.
has that potential. Yeah, he is.
I mean, a surprising team I want to talk about is the Pacers because the Pacers have been like incredible this season because obviously
Once
I mean,
Holly
they really
got there.
weren't before. But I mean, I guess it's just Tyrese Halliburton because he literally just like broke out. Because what was it on the Pacers when Sabonis was still on that team? It wasn't working. So I guess they've shown that. I mean, they got a few more trades and a few more signings, but I think with the
Their
elite
team,
point guard that they have is that's just really been the key to their success.
That's right. I mean, Halliburton's leading the league in assists by like a long shot right now.
Averaging,
What
like
is
10
it?
or 11.
11.9,
Yeah.
I think it is. But I mean, he's just looked crazy this year. And since he's gotten another like all-star caliber player like Pascal Siakam with him, I mean, genuinely, they're one of the most exciting teams to watch in the league. I don't think they are title contenders because their defense just isn't quite
on that level.
up
yet,
on that level yet.
On the Celtics level or something.
Yeah, no. I mean, the Celtics are just
Cavs
crazy.
level, but I don't think they're even on the Cavs level, but like you said, to be honest, it might be my favorite team to watch in the league.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, they're electrifying, really.
They're really flashy. I mean, especially like what Tyrese Halliburton is that like he gets like a lot of flashy assists, is like a lot of no looks, a lot of nice bounce passes. I mean, and they've shown that they could like work in playoff situations. Like when it came to in-season tournament, they made it to the finals in that. So
Yeah.
that was fun to watch for them. That was like months ago, but
Yeah.
I mean, you still remember. I mean, those were really good games, and I think they really executed on like just playing overall really well.
Right. So, you got any more points?
I mean, I think discussed a lot. Discussed a lot about West and East. And any final thoughts?
Nope.
Wembanyama needs a guard.
Yeah.
Somebody, like, okay, there is no reason that this guy shouldn't be averaging 25. He's averaging maybe 20 and 10 right now. If they passed him the ball as much as they really should be, because the guy's basically unstoppable. I think I've seen him get blocked once in 50-something games. No, as long as you keep passing him the ball, you're going to get points. But the problem is that they're like 11 and 40-something.
Yeah. Which
Pass-
is perfect
passing
time.
the
It's
ball.
perfect time to let your best player develop. I mean, if you're pretty much out of playoff contention, why do you need to be like stifling his development when you could be transforming him into one of the best players the league possibly has ever seen?
That's right. Yeah, no. If I'm the Spurs right now, I'm gonna be looking at Trae Young. I mean, the Hawks are the most mid team in the past maybe 5 or 6 years. I think there was something last week or maybe this week it said in their past 1,500 games, they are 750 and 750 on the dot.
Mid.
The definition of mid. They need something to happen, or they're going to stay mid. So I say trade away your star guard. I mean, he's got so much value right now. He's entering his prime. Trade him away. Give him to the Spurs. The Spurs give you like a bunch of pieces, and the Hawks go into rebuild mode. And now Wembanyama has an all-star guard that he can work with. I think that would be cool.
Definitely.
I mean, 100%. It sucks that they traded with Dejounte Murray though in that deal. He used to be with them.
That's right.
So that's a tough loss for him. But I mean, yeah, that's a lot of NBA basketball.
Yeah.
And we'll be back on ITV just shortly.
Jacob. And welcome back to In the Vault. I'm here with Colton and Ryan. So today we're going to be talking some MLB. The first thing,
and Jacob.
And Jacob, yeah, sorry, and Jacob. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Cody Bellinger signing a 3-year, $80 million deal back with the Cubs. So Colton, you got any thoughts on that?
I mean, I mean, you make a face, but I feel like that's like a fair deal. I mean,
I do.
He's a really solid player, and I think 3 years is appropriate. I mean,
it's
number.
way different than what he was anticipating at the beginning of the season.
100%.
He was saying
12 years, 264.
No, that and
that's
also
absurd.
he even lowered it to 175 at one point, which is also way off. But I mean, to be honest, I don't really like the deal. But like you said, it's good years wise. But if you look at a lot of his advanced metrics, like a lot of his stuff, like his batting average was way above expected. And I mean, his power numbers were all right, but they were still down from like what we expect out of him, because that's pretty much what he brings to the table, as well as tremendous defense.
I mean, his average exit velo was horrible.
Look,
it was 88.
I expected a little bit more to him, to be honest. Maybe not money-wise, but I thought he'd get a longer deal than 3 years.
Well,
but on the other hand, this is a guy that hit 210 a year before what he did last year.
I mean,
which is why I said like it's underlying.
So 3 years, 80 mil is something I like. But I expected more, but I like that. I like that a lot.
What this contract reminds me of is that Carlos Correa contract in 2022.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of short years, not a lot of money. I mean, it's what, 6 years, 200 mil, something like that.
For Correa? I think
Yeah.
it was 210.
No. It was 3 years. It was 3 years, $120 million. I think something
Reminds
small.
me of that Scherzer. Well, for pitcher, Scherzer.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, Correa is that he had opt-outs after every season. So he opted out. After that first year, he opted out and then re-signed with the Twins for 6 years, 200 mil.
This is a big move for the Cubs, too, because, I talked about last year how they were a fringe playoff team, almost made the playoffs, almost won their division. They could have won the division.
Suzuki sold.
And, well, yeah, but seeing them be able to re-sign a guy that was such a big part of that team last year is a big move for them. Now they made other moves. They brought in what's the Japanese pitcher that they brought in?
Imanata.
Yeah, him. They brought in him too. So there's a couple moves that these Cubs have made, and honestly, in that division, I think bringing back a guy like Bellinger, if he could do what he did last year, which the numbers really don't show that he will, but if he can do half of what he did last year, I mean that's big for them. And I honestly could see this team making some noise in that NL Central.
I mean,
don't forget about a great manager in Craig Counsell too.
Oh yeah, I forgot they made that move too.
I mean,
All that overpay though.
I mean,
the overpay is ridiculous.
I mean, you see a guy like Bellinger who batted 307 last year when his advanced metrics suggested he should have batted like
267.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a guy I would expect more to maybe 270 this year with maybe 25 home runs, somewhere in that range. But I mean, I do like the signing. Like
he
Jacob
fits
said,
well with the
years-wise.
Cubs.
Yeah,
He fits
Especially
well in
if he's
Wrigley
already got-
Field.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
I mean, this is also his second straight season being fully healthy.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's depending. It's depending. Like if he injures his shoulder again, I think it's time for Cody Bellinger to either move to the minors or move to an independently to, develop more.
What?
His shoulder injury.
What did we just say? What did you just say?
Him dislocating his shoulder. In
He's
the
making $26 million a year.
He's not going to
He's going to the minors.
independent league. Or
He's going to the minors to rehab.
This is a guy that won.
he gets
This is a guy
injured.
that won an NL MVP. He's not going to an independent league. I mean,
possible.
all right.
It's so possible.
So moving on, we'll move on. So
Yeah.
the Blake Snell sweepstakes. I mean, you see him.
Is it
lower-
really a sweepstakes?
Yeah.
It's
Like,
literally
all
just
right,
the Yankees and
yeah.
that's it.
Giants are in. Giants are in heavily. They're actually.
But,
favored.
like,
I just don't see
yeah.
it happening.
here's my thing
I
with
mean, the
Blake
Giants.
Snell.
Giants are always in on everyone.
It's the
and then
Giants. They
until
fumble
they're not-
they
yeah.
fumble the bag, bro.
Here's my thing with Blake Snell. Right? You have 2 Cy Young seasons, but like Mr. Arenio said today, those are bookend seasons. Everything in between is not that great. That's not a 27, 28, $30 million pitcher.
It's
No way.
25 at most.
Yeah, it's 25 at most, if that.
I would say closer to 20 too if it was me because
Yeah.
this is a guy that.
So
that
yes,
would-
he's won 2 Cy Youngs, and he led the league in walks last year.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
also
Is that something you want?
he's the guy that's
No.
going to throw 100 pitches in 5 innings and have like 5 or 6 walks, or he's going to have like 7 innings and 10 punch-outs.
And
Like,
if you're Brian
he's more
Cashman playing in
consistent.
that small Yankee stadium, and I'm talking Yankees here because that's where we're based.
Right.
If you have Brian Cashman in Yankee Stadium, do you really want a guy that's a fly ball pitcher that walks a lot of guys on base? Because if you walk 2 guys on and then you give up a little fly ball, it's a catchable in any other stadium, but it's Yankee Stadium. Do you really want that?
Especially
Is that
'cause
really
it's
what
fast-
you want to be
especially
paying?
'cause
You want to pay him more than Garrett Cole too? Absolutely not.
Especially because he's pitching a righty. If he's going to pitch to a righty here at Yankee Stadium, he has like a lot of run on his fastball. If it goes away, they just poke it down the right field line. All of a sudden, it's a home run when he
Exactly.
walk 2
And if
guys.
you're going to walk 2 guys because
Yeah.
you lead the league in walks too.
So,
I don't think it fits well for the Yankees.
Colton.
I think a guy like Dylan Cease would be better,
I
but
would-
that's not
yeah.
what we're talking
Yeah, because
he's also an extremely fly ball oriented pitcher, but I mean, I like him. He's a little better on the walks end, and he would definitely be cheaper. So I think that would be a decent fit. But Colton,
hold on. You're telling me Dylan Cease is going to be cheaper?
Yeah.
Well, we're not talking Dylan Cease yet.
he's going to be
but
cheaper.
we'll
We'll
get
get
to
to
He's gonna
that
be
later.
cheaper than Blake Snell.
Absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. They're asking for Spencer Jones.
Cheaper.
They're asking for Spencer Jones.
So,
They're
yeah.
not.
Okay.
I mean, okay. In terms of that,
yeah.
That's not happening.
No. This is
Uh,
true.
Colton, what do you feel about Blake Snell? Where would you like to see him go?
I mean, I kind of agree with Jacob. I don't think it's going to be a Yankees move. I like what you said. I think it'd just be a bad move for them Cashman as
It's
a
not
whole.
a Yankees type.
Matt
of
Blake
move,
exists.
though.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not- it's not a
really
Yankees
isn't.
type
It's
of
an
move.
old Yankees
Yeah,
type of
yeah.
move, right?
It's not that. It's a different regime.
You
now.
brought in Soto.
It's like
You brought in Stroman. You made moves to make your team better, but Hal Steinbrenner still doesn't feel like they're good
Yeah.
enough. But I don't, which is fine, which is what we want to
that's
see from
definitely
Hal.
what I want.
But we don't want to see Hal bring in a guy that doesn't fit well with the team.
I agree.
I know we come off the Cy Young. That would give you both Cy Young winners on the same team,
And
which
you
is
can't pay
a
him more than-
storyline.
You can't pay him more than Cole.
No,
you're never
but
gonna be able to pay him more than Cole.
you don't want Hal to fall into like the storyline part of it because you come
I don't
out
think he
there,
will.
you look a lot like your dad and George Steinbrenner when you sign. When you have
You
the
trade
Cy,
for Soto.
AL Cy Young winner, and you bring in the NL Cy Young winner, while also bringing in a guy that was an NL MVP candidate. That makes you look more like George Steinbrenner, but that's not what you want. You don't want to bring in a guy that doesn't fit well with the team.
Right. So, Parm, you got any last thoughts on Snell?
I mean, in all honesty, I think Snell is a San Francisco Giant. I mean, he's a
Yeah,
fly ball
definitely.
pitcher. It's
So
a
boring.
I know, but it's a very pitcher friendly
Yeah.
It's
park.
already on that side of the country anyway. Why you need to come all the way across the country? But All right, so I guess moving on from Snell, you want to talk about Cease now, I guess?
I mean, what's there to talk about
Yeah.
Cease? Because
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
talks
he's
are
on
gonna,
he's on a
talks-
team, but it's like
talks are gonna stall as long as they're gonna continue asking for Blake Snell. Not Blake Snell. Sorry,
Spencer Jones.
Spencer Jones.
Not even that. The more and more we get into spring
Yeah,
training,
that's
the
what-
more
you
and
don't
more it's
want-
going to die out.
He doesn't want to like have to go adjust everything that he's been doing in spring training. So
Now, this is a guy that had, what,
he had
Below
a,
2.3 ERA.
4.48 ERA. last
below
year.
3 ERA in 2022.
Yeah.
And then comes in here and has a 4 ERA last year. Do you
To be
want to
f-
give up Spencer Jones?
To be
No.
fair, that defense was absolutely horrible. His FIP was much better than his ERA.
Still.
I mean, he has
he debuted at
tremen-
27.
he's
There's got to
tre-
be a reason for that.
He's tremendous stuff, but like it's the type of guy where
Wait, how old is Cease?
He
he's
debuted at 27
he's-
years
I
old.
think he's 29.
So he's 29.
Yeah.
Damn.
You really want to give up Spencer Jones?
No.
No.
So I'm okay with giving up Spencer Jones if you know you're re-signing Soto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I
then you
don't
have
think- I don't think you
Domingue.
know that.
There's
You
no
don't know
spot
that.
for Spencer Jones if you re-sign
base.
Soto. Well, is that really realistic?
Yeah.
Because then you have
Maybe.
Judge, Dominguez, Soto for the next
Yeah.
10 years.
I don't think they know that they're re-signing Soto yet, so I don't think
Exactly.
that's even in the cards.
So
They
you don't
a-
you
they-
don't try and trade
They
him. yet.
absolutely should re-sign Soto.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
That's a different topic.
No, we don't even talk about that.
That's a different talk. That's a different
Back
topic.
to Cease.
All right, so I mean, he doesn't really fit. I mean, at Yankee Stadium, he does give up a ton of fly balls. He is a high strikeout pitcher, but he's the type of guy like that combination of walks and home runs doesn't really bode well. Like you need a guy that's going to be able to get you double plays. And he does have really good stuff, I will say, but that doesn't always matter. So Colton, what do you feel about Cease? Where would you like to, if he does go anywhere?
I mean,
would you
yeah,
like
I
him?
would expect. I don't even really know if he's even gonna go
Yeah,
anywhere. I
I
mean,
would-
he could
yeah.
definitely stay just in Chicago, but I mean, trying to actually think of like somewhere else. I mean, it's kind of tough. I mean, maybe like the Giants or something, or like maybe the Padres could also use it because
Lame answer. Besides, who do the Padres even have to trade?
I mean
I don't
that's
think
true.
the
That's
Padres are
also
making
a
any more.
factor. But like I mean like the Padres
think
just have like
AJ I
nobody.
think AJ Preller is
If
dog
you're the
shit.
White Sox, though, you're dumb not to trade him. Because you're not
Yeah.
going anywhere.
You're dumb asking for someone like Spencer Jones.
Well, no, you're not.
No, you're
Because
not. Why
you're
would
going to
you-
try to get the
Yeah,
most out of
yeah.
him. Because
That's
he's
the
not going to
sell
do
take.
anything with your team.
Yeah.
He's not going to help you at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but you know, like if you're gonna ask for Spencer Jones, the Yankees aren't gonna accept that trade.
Yeah, but it's
It
just
can't
worth.
hurt
I mean,
to
why,
ask.
why not? Yeah.
You
Where are
always
they gonna
gotta
go?
ask.
Yeah. You never know how high they are.
they're probably maybe they know something that we don't. Maybe they know the Yankees and Scott Boras are talking about re-signing Soto,
Yeah.
right? So then maybe that puts
Yeah.
Spencer Jones on the table.
Yeah.
You never know.
So I mean, I guess moving on from Cease. So we see Yoshinobu Yamamoto's first spring trading outing yesterday. 2 innings, 3 Ks, no hits, no walks, no runs. He did face primarily primarily minor league hitters, but he did strike out Marcus Semien and Nathaniel Lowe. So you do see some nice things from him. Colton, what do you think about Yamamoto?
Yeah, I did actually see that stat line. I saw him strike out Simeon. I mean, obviously we're gonna obviously expect him to be good,
Yeah.
but it just depends how good will he actually be. I mean, it's only spring training, so
Yeah.
I think we still have a lot to see out of him because I mean, it's only spring training. We could definitely see a lot more, but I mean, I'm excited to see like when he's gonna start and just to watch him play more and just to see how he's gonna fit in with the Dodgers because it's definitely like a really big move for the
Right,
Dodgers.
yeah.
So it's gonna be pretty surprising and just exceptional to actually see what he could do on the field.
Arm?
I mean, yeah, this is potentially be a great signing by Dodge, but the problem is like almost every single Japanese pitcher, they have an injury to their arm because ball MLB is bigger.
More
it's also
innings,
heavier.
adjustment.
You throw more innings.
It's more
you
like the
less
daily
rest.
schedule is different. I
you
mean,
get less
the-
rest. In Japan, you pitch once every week. MLB, you pitch every 5 days, maybe even 4, depending on how short-staffed you are. And with the-
I don't
and-
think
and-
that'll be a problem with the Dodgers though, just based on their situation. But especially
mean-
with how careful they're probably going to take a similar approach to what the Mets did with Senga last year. I mean, I know it actually didn't end up working out, especially what we just saw in spring training. We could get to that.
That's
maybe in a
different,
little
though.
bit.
That's
That
different.
wasn't. But the Mets were giving Senga extra days and taking him out of the 5-day rotation and bringing up guys from the minors to complete his starts sometimes. So they might take a approach similar to that for some of the regular season, especially if they're cruising to the NL West title. But so Parm, you got any more thoughts?
I mean,
on
another
Yamamoto?
concern about Yamamoto is how hard he throws at such a short height. I mean, we look at someone like
I mean,
Pedro.
that's
we-
it's
I mean,
a
we
little
look-
concerning, but
We
it's
look at
also-
someone like Pedro Martinez, and he's really the only person that threw hard, was short, didn't really have any arm injuries.
Maybe. I mean, there's probably guys who just aren't thinking about that were successful, but not obviously his level. Jacob, got any thoughts on Yamamoto?
I mean, this is something that's a little interesting to me because I agree with Parm on the fact that, most Japanese pitchers come over here and will need surgery at some point. So you paid him a lot of money. I don't remember the contract. I think it was, what, 6?
It was 12 years, 325.
12?
12 through 25.
Oh, man. Yeah, see, now you have a guy for 12 years that most likely will need a Tommy John surgery at some point.
Yeah, but very much. I mean, most likely. But I mean, do you if you say at the beginning of the contract you get 4 titles in those 12 years with an arm injury, do you take that?
You okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm
So I think that's what
perfectly
they're
okay with
saying.
that.
I mean, I don't think it's obviously not guaranteed, but I think that's some of their thinking with that.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Don't forget about the 84 win Pirates with the Power Friendship in the playoffs. Don't forget about that.
All right. So do we have any other spring training narratives that we want to talk about here?
I mean, is there really anything to talk
I mean,
about?
Not
I don't
really.
think so.
Not really.
Also, actually, one more thing. Is the Yankees offense finally back?
Oh, I
mean,
like
I
this
don't-
topic.
yeah.
Look, I mean, I think there's an opportunity here for something to go really well or really terribly because you have Soto for a year.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
You're guaranteed.
That first swing was terrifying.
oh my God. it
That
was.
I was watching that game. I was like, oh God, please don't.
You have Soto for a year, and I hate to be
And
that
then-
guy,
and
but
then he hits.
you don't
then
want
he hits one
to,
out
like,
also.
it's scary because this offense was historically terrible last year.
They were almost as bad as the Oakland days.
Exactly. And bringing in a guy like Soto, obviously, he's incredible. But does that do enough for you?
I mean, I
You
think
get
it
rid of Donaldson. Okay, that was
I
a
mean,
big problem.
you look at it. It doesn't really change
Yeah,
too much. I mean, it changes.
does.
Yeah, Soto changes.
changes
a lot.
so
changes
much.
changes a lot.
It does,
but-
and Verdugo is a key
Yeah.
piece
No, I
because
know, I
people
know.
people underplay that, but he's a lefty in Yankee Stadium.
Makes a lot of
Key
contact.
piece.
Makes a lot of contact.
And
Makes
it,
a lot of
it
contact.
also brings a lot more balance to the Yankees on because we've seen in
Teams
year-
are forced to pitch to Judge now too.
true because
which is huge.
you have Soto. Because you're probably going to have Verdugo, Soto, Judge, or
Oh yeah,
Verdugo,
that's what I was just
Oh,
gonna
one
go
thing
through.
I-
or
one-
Verdugo, Judge, Soto.
That's what I was just gonna go through was the key pieces here on how this season goes are Giancarlo Stanton and
That's
Anthony
what I was
Rizzo.
about to say.
Now, Rizzo has had some great swings in spring training. He looks like since he's got through the head injury, he'll be fine. Stanton's the key piece to me.
He looks a lot thinner.
He looks a lot
That's
thinner.
what-
He looks a lot better.
Yeah.
But did he lose that power? Because the power is his key thing. Now, if
don't
his
think so. I don't
average
think
pump
so.
comes up, love that because he hit what 198 last year. But we need to see the power stay there.
I think he still has-
in all reality, I think he's at the same playing weight in his 2017 MVP season. He looks
he just
he
was
looks
so,
that same. He was just so
he was just so
bulky.
big for those
If you
years
get
that no one
40
remembers
plus,
what he looked
I'm
like.
gonna go out on a limb here. If you get 40 plus home runs from Giancarlo Stanton, you're winning the World Series. That
Yeah.
simple. And everything stays healthy-ish.
And he-
Obviously,
and he
it's not gonna
bats-
stay fully
and he
healthy.
bats like
I mean, you
260,
look at
maybe.
2021. I mean, that's really the last season he was fully healthy.
Yeah. I mean, so looking at the Yankee lineup, would you rather put LeMahieu or Verdugo at the top?
I'd rather put Verdugo.
Does
yeah,
Verdugo play
Verdugo.
every day?
Yeah,
yes.
I think he
until
should.
I would say
until
Verdugo.
Dominguez comes back?
Until
I would say
Dominguez comes back, he should play every day.
I say
So you go
Verdugo.
Verdugo, Soto, Judge. No questions there.
Yep.
I think you start Stanton lower in the order than 4. 4 has been his spot for years, but I think that's more of a Rizzo spot if he's fully
6.
healthy. I think you go Rizzo at 4, you go LeMahieu at 5.
I think
No
Stanton
Glaber?
can-
Oh, Glaber. I'm sorry, I forgot about Glaber. Glaber at 5, you go Stanton at 6, LeMahieu at 7.
I'd say you.
Wells
And
at
then
8, Volpe at 9.
Volpe, Wells, Trevino, kind of just.
I'd say Wells 8.
I think
Volpe
Wells.
Wells 8, Volpe
No.
9.
I
Well,
think you
yeah.
go a classic righty-lefty thing
Volpe-
here.
There's no question.
I
Volpe's
think
not
Wells goes versus righties and Trevino goes versus lefties.
Especially-
That obviously doesn't work every day.
Especially because Volpe has the speed at the bottom of the lineup. You definitely want to put, especially if you're going to get guaranteed probably 20 stolen bases out of him, you want him in the 9
But
spot.
the problem is like
especially with,
And you
with
really
his
want to
con-
evolve Volpe into
Yeah.
that leadoff hitter.
the
But I
problem
think
is
it's
though.
going to take a ton, especially with his contact rate. It's going to take a long time to get there. But
and
he could make a huge.
and-
I've been looking for a huge jump. I would really love to see a huge. There's nothing more I'd like to see than out of this year. If I could see anything, it would be a huge jump. Outside of re-signing Soto, a huge jump from Volpe would be the best thing I could see.
I mean, another thing though is how is he going to improve his strikeout rate? Because it was like what 30% last
Yeah,
year.
that's bad. I don't know.
So
Time will tell.
we got any more final thoughts on MLB?
I mean, there's one thing I want to talk about, but that's more towards the offseason, if anything.
All right. So you wanna bring it up now, or you wanna save it for later?
I mean, I might as well bring it up now because probably gonna forget it. What's gonna happen with Torres and Soto?
Torres and
because they're both free agents after this year.
Re-sign them both.
yeah,
Yeah.
resign him. I think you deal with Soto first, and then, or I mean, obviously you do with Soto first, but
It's
I
the
think-
beauty of
I think
baseball.
his
There's no
contract,
salary
I
cap.
think his contract
Spend as much as you
negotiations
want.
are probably gonna go. They might go in season.
But I
a
feel
little
like
bit.
that's what ruins baseball a bit though. That's what makes the offseason so slow.
Yeah.
Also, doesn't help that it's the longest offseason of all
Look,
four major
if
sports.
you're the Yankees, you're looking at some cap. Heck.
issues. But I mean,
Um,
if Hal's gonna try to, I mean, he's gonna try to.
Hal needs to
conform
open
what
the wallet
public
as
wants.
far as it
Yeah.
as it goes. Okay.
Well,
he
I
needs
mean-
to-
Yeah.
I mean, which he did do in the which he did do a bit in the 22 offseason with Rodon and
Look, you're
With
paying
Rodon and
Rodon,
Judge.
you're paying Cole, you're paying Judge, you're gonna be paying Soto if you re-sign him.
you're paying Stanton.
You're paying Stanton. You're talking about paying Snell.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that everything goes well, because Stanton and you're paying LeMahieu too a solid amount.
90 million.
Yeah, I mean a solid amount. So
6 years, 90 million.
Jesus.
so if LeMahieu has another type of season like he had last year, you need to think about moving
Yeah.
that. But
Okay, though, to be fair with LeMahieu, though, he was not healthy. He was
True.
he
but
was
we've
bad
been
on
saying
two.
that for years.
But
We only said it last
yeah,
year.
we only said it.
No,
'cause
it
the
was a
year-
couple years though.
No, it wasn't.
No,
just-
because
no.
the year before that he was tremendous.
No,
It was just
yeah,
the-
no, in 2022
20
he was
yeah,
right,
fantastic.
right.
It was just in the it was
That's
just
when he got the contract.
it was just in the
Because remind,
it was either late season or early playoffs where he tore a ligament in his toe, I think.
yeah, I think it
Right,
was
right.
late season. But he signed. It's hard to remember because he signed. He's been in the league for so many years, but he just signed that deal one off season ago. So I mean, he just had that year. This year last year, I agree with you. If he has another year like that, you might want to
You know, move him.
look in a different direction. But I don't think it's time to give up on him yet.
Alright.
So Colton, any final thoughts? Farm?
No, I just want to see the Yankees do good.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
another thing,
who
ticket
doesn't?
prices are absurd.
Ticket
Ticket prices are absurd. I saw something second deck, halfway up the row, $275 a seat
Really?
in foul territory.
Wow.
All right, so that will do it for our MLB segment. We'll be back shortly with the rest of In the Ball. Hello and welcome back to In the Vault. I'm here with Mr. Aranio, and we're going to talk some college basketball. So we're going to start with the Big East, I guess. So I know you're a Seton Hall fan. You got any initial thoughts on what's been going on lately with them?
Well, we talked a good amount about Seton Hall in our show on Tuesday. We were talking about sleepers, teams that'll be a lower seed in the tournament, double-digit seed, that type of team, who could go on a run. So I brought up Seton Hall. I don't want to be biased. Yeah. But as we were looking at the teams, I said, you know what? I think Seton Hall is just as good a pick to be a sleeper as anyone. But then last night they go and get handled is a good word. I was going to say destroyed, which is another good word. But they got handled by Creighton at Creighton. I went into that game thinking they would be very competitive. I would have feeling. I mean, Creighton's been really good lately, but I felt like you said, Seton Hall's a team that they can come in and upset anyone. So. I was feeling pretty good about it going in because Creighton lost to St. John's at the Garden on Sunday, which you could say, well, that's not good because Creighton lost and, they're going to be looking to bounce back. So that aspect of it. But they did lose to a struggling St. John's team. St. John's played well. You're a St. John's fan, so we're going to get more into them in a little bit. And then Seton Hall lost to Creighton in triple overtime at Prudential Center in January. It's a great game, arguably the best game in college basketball this year. Yeah, it was that triple overtime game in the Big 12. Which is up there, but I felt pretty good that Seton Hall had a decent chance going into the game, but they got absolutely destroyed. They didn't do anything right last night. I don't think it was an effort thing. I think the effort was there, but Creighton they missed shots early. Creighton did, which kept the game close for like the first 10 minutes, but then they started making their shots. Their ball movement was tremendous. When they get their offense going, they're one of the best offenses in college basketball. They become a machine. They could shoot the three. I mean, they're dynamite from three. They could get the ball inside. You got Kalkbrenner. So when they're on their game offensively, they're really, really good. And I thought they defended really well last night. Their defense was tenacious. They look like a legit
contender,
Final Four contender. So it's a very good team. So there's a combination of how good Creighton was. Seton Hall didn't play well. And then for Seton Hall, I mean, Isaiah Coleman was out. He's their sixth man. So they're a team that's not deep. I mean, they basically have no depth. Right. But they have Coleman, so he was out. So they're without a bench. They had five guys. You could argue with the way that Wusu played last night. It was like they had four guys. But overall, I mean, nobody played well. No. So Seton Hall.
Even Dawes couldn't play well.
Yeah, Dawes is streaky. Yeah. When he gets on fire, he could carry the team, but he didn't have a good game last night.
He's one of those players where, I mean, when he gets on, he could just.
He could carry a team, but he's streaky. So, they need their top three. Dawes, Richmond, who's their star, their All-America type player, and then Dre Davis. They need those three guys to be very good every game. Or two of them to have a great game. So, I mean, they didn't get a great game from any of them last night. So, again, they're not a deep team, but they're a veteran team.
Right.
Veteran starting lineups, all seniors or graduate players. They usually play good defense. Oftentimes, very good defense. They struggle defending the three, and then you could see that against Creighton. Creighton shoots the lights out from three. So I still am pretty hopeful and optimistic with Seton Hall.
I wouldn't be down on them right now. I mean, that's a loss to a team where if you're on offense, especially you could make – that's a game where if you're going to make excuses, that's a game you make excuses and you just move on from it. But
it's the way they lost, though. If they had lost a close game,
I get they let it get out of hand too much, though. I will say
it wasn't even let it get it. Like they got blitzed from almost the beginning. Like Creighton was missing shots
just
early.
From like the early being,
But from the 10-minute point, the halfway mark of the first half, Creighton just took over. It was never a game after that, and it really was never a game the whole night. So they got blitzed. It's cause for concern for sure.
Right.
And then,
especially with a team that you're competing with.
Going into the game, Seton Hall was a half a game ahead of Creighton in the Big East standings. Now Creighton has jumped ahead of them. Creighton has the tiebreaker over Seton Hall. So I think that pretty much
solidifies.
That pretty much ends Seton Hall's hopes of being the number 3 seed in the Big East. I mean, they're not catching UConn. They're not catching Marquette, although, you could argue if they won last night that Marquette was in play.
Providence right on the heels.
Yeah, I mean,
Seton Hall.
Seton Hall is 2 games ahead of Providence and 2 games ahead of Villanova. So Seton Hall is 11-6 in the conference. Providence and Villanova are 9-8.
A little back.
St.
little
John's
back,
at
yeah.
9-9. So Seton Hall is in a pretty good spot to be the number 4 seed. But they got a tough schedule coming up here. I mean, they end the regular season with DePaul. DePaul is historically bad. They're 3-25, so that'll be a win. So that gets Seton Hall to 12 Big East wins.
Then you got UConn and Villanova.
You got UConn on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't want to say a team never has a chance, but Seton Hall took care of UConn. They handled them. The Big East opener, December 20th at Prudential Center. I mean, they handled them. Klingon got hurt in the second half. I think it was early second half he got hurt, so that factored in. But Seton Hall took care of them. Yeah. They really took care of them that night, so they can beat them. They already did. But I think to beat them twice in a season, go to UConn.
Yeah, that's what you think that makes a difference. They go to UConn at the Prudential as opposed to.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean,
especially in college.
Yeah, I mean, Seton Hall beat UConn this year at home. They beat them last year at home, and they beat them the year before. So the last 3 years, they've beaten UConn at Prudential Center. The year before that, they beat them at UConn. So Seton Hall actually has played UConn well the last 4 years since UConn has rejoined the Big East. So Seton Hall's actually 4-4 against them since UConn rejoined the Big East. But Sunday's a tall task.
I'm not expecting. I mean, I want them to go out there, and if I were Seton Hall, I'd want. If I were Williard, I want to go out there and you got to you can be competitive, get those guys back on track because there were little injuries last game. You want to get on a track where you go into Villanova and DePaul and take care of them.
Yeah, they got to get Coleman back because they need some depth. I mean, they really have no depth, but they have Coleman as their 6th man. So hopefully he was sick, wasn't an injury, so he's sick. Hopefully they get him back. Sunday's a tall order, so say they lose Sunday. Then there's a lot of pressure to the Villanova game because then they're 11-7 in the conference. Right now, overall, they're 18-10. So say they lose to UConn, they're 18-11, they're 11-7. And Seton Hall's metrics are not good. They're 64 in the net. I mean, we talked about the metrics the other day. I think we need to do a show on the metrics because it's a disgrace. It's crazy, in my opinion. But say Seton Hall loses to Nova, and Nova has really had Seton Hall's number.
Yeah,
I mean, Seton Hall beat him in the 2016 Big East final, which is a huge win for Seton Hall. Seton Hall beat him in the 14 Big East quarters, a big upset. But other than that, I mean, the last 16 matchups, Villanova's won 14 of them.
Yeah.
Seton Hall's won 1 time at Villanova in the last 30 years. So they struggle with them. So it's a concerning game. Villanova has played well. Seems like they're clicking now. Seton Hall's home. It's a game that I say
it could go either way.
They should take care of business at home. But that's a tough spot. You lose to UConn. There's pressure in that game. And then if you want to go from there and say they lose that game, then you're looking at 11-8 in the conference. And 18-12 overall. They'll beat DePaul, but then you're finishing up 12-8, 19-12. Then there's pressure in that Big East quarterfinal.
Yeah.
You go lose that thing.
It's tough.
Then they probably don't make the tournament.
No,
so I mean, we're going through
a
few
few
games
games
here.
That's a lot of different scenarios.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but the door is open now.
For them to possibly miss out.
For them to
if they win that game, I know Creighton's a tall order, but if they win that game, that changes things significantly.
If they win which game?
Creighton.
Yeah. Well, to me, if they won last night, they should have solidified the tournament. As long as you take care of business against DePaul, they will do that. Yeah. But the door is open now because you're playing UConn Sunday, and then Villanova's a game where I say at home you should take care of that game.
Definitely.
But it's going to be a tough game.
It's like
you
one
lose
of those
that
games
one, then it's pressure time because then you play DePaul, which you're going to win that game. They're brutal, but then there's going to be big time pressure, and you're going to be waiting for that Big East quarterfinal because you're playing Nova next Wednesday. The quarterfinal's the following Thursday, so you can't overlook DePaul. Take care of business, but then there would be a lot of pressure. So Seton Hall's got to get one of these next 2. They go beat UConn on Sunday, then come on, they're in. I don't care what they do the rest of the year. But they don't get that one, then it's not a must win, but it's as close to a must win as you could get. That's going to be a pressurized game. But I'm going to say I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. They're a tough team. They play very good defense most of the time. Again, struggle with perimeter defense, but they They tighten that up. They're inconsistent with it, but they start with defense. That's the MO with Shaheen Holloway, defense first. They got the veterans. They got the star in Richmond. As I said, Dawes, Davis.
Yeah.
Bettiaco.
Yeah.
Bettiaco's big for that team.
Wuzu, I mean, he's
Very
he can-
streaky,
yeah,
but
can be
he,
good.
he's a guy that can contribute. So again, I still think they're in a pretty good spot to make the tournament, but it gets interesting. It gets a little dicey now.
Right.
After last night.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
So you want to talk about the Red Storm?
Yeah, let's talk about the Red Storm. So, I mean, a big win over Butler. I mean, you go out and beat Butler by 23. I know they're at the bottom of the conference, but after losing 4 out of your last 5 games, that and having your coach make those comments. But did you see how he actually kind of rescinded what he said and was like, "Oh, I just did that to fire the guys up. I just did that just staged." I don't know if I believe that, but either way, it seemed to have worked as they now won 3 straight games. But so, I mean, coming up, you got DePaul, who they should take care of business against hypothetically. But I mean, then again, you can't overlook them, especially going on the road.
Count that as a win.
Yeah.
DePaul is historically bad, and then Georgetown. I mean, what a great schedule to end.
We could win 5 games, 5 games in a row going into the tournament.
So
if they can get in.
So you win 5 in a row after
Losing 4 out of
man.
5.
I mean, you really got to kick yourself with the loss of Seton Hall. Seton Hall
That
played
was brutal.
so bad the first 15 to 16 minutes. So bad. I gave up on the game. I normally will not give up on a game that early, which obviously I turned out to be
41-29
wrong.
after the first quarter.
Seton Hall it wasn't even St. John's was playing well. They were playing okay early. Seton Hall was so bad. But then the last 24, 25 minutes, St. John's was worse than Seton Hall was.
Much worse.
They were brutal. And Seton Hall played a lot better. They made adjustments. But I'll be honest with you, I think Seton Hall deserves some credit for winning the game for sure. Coming back, resilience. St. John's was brutal. I mean, that was as bad as it gets.
But yeah, I mean, I think after that, you got to do something because you lose a game like that, the whole locker room could. If you don't do something, you could lose the locker room, and it appears that it's somehow worked in the situation because they've now won 3 straight and have a good shot at winning 5 straight. But now they're on the outside looking in for the tournament. When they had winnable games.
They're going to win these next 2 games. Those teams are horrible.
Yeah.
Georgetown's brutal.
DePaul, I think DePaul
is historically bad. 3-25.
0-17 in the conference.
And Georgetown and DePaul just played each other at DePaul, and Georgetown won at the end by 1 point. So I mean, you're
basically playing the same team.
Those are wins. I mean, they're gonna take care of it. So they're gonna be 19-12, 11-9, going to the Garden. They're on their home court in the Big East tournament. And then I just want to pull up the net rankings. Do you know off here?
I think Houston is number 1.
Well, not even go over the top. Just St. John's and where they're at.
Net rankings: Houston, Purdue, UConn, Tennessee, Marquette, Arizona, Kansas, Iowa State.
Well, you're going to be reading for a while.
Yeah.
St. John's.
But
St. John's does well in the matches. Again, Seton Hall doesn't do well. They're 64. So that's problematic.
Yeah, but
St. John's right now. See, Villanova's 32, and it's going to be interesting to see how much the committee weighs the net rankings and the metrics, the analytics. So you got Villanova at 32, so they're 16-12. What are they in the conference? They are 9-9.
9-9, yeah.
No, 9-8. 9-8.
Yeah,
St. John's is 9-9.
Yeah.
But
that's what I mean.
Nova does very well in the net rankings at 32. St. John's is 40, so St. John's at 17-12. They're 40. This is what I don't understand. Ryan, they're 3-9 in quad 1. They only got 3 quad 1 wins.
And yeah, but then they're there. They're right there.
And again, this is not because I'm a Seton Hall fan. Seton Hall 64. They got 5 quad 1 wins.
Right.
Now,
what's
St.
their
John's
record? What's their record on within conference? Seton Hall.
Seton Hall's 11-6 in the conference right now.
Yeah. Okay.
They're 11-6 in the conference. They're 18-10 overall. St. John's is 17-12, and they're 9-9. So Seton Hall's better overall record
of 1 ring
and in the conference. Beat them twice.
Yeah.
Destroyed them at Prudential Center.
And then dealt with that embarrassing loss.
Won the game at UBS Arena. I mean, just another thing.
Yeah.
Playing at UBS Arena, not playing at the Garden. I mean, come on, man. But again, St. John's 3-9 to quad 1. So they're 9-11 quad 1, quad 2, under 500. I mean, it's not terrible, it's not good. And then they have a quad 3 loss. Now, Seton Hall has 2 quad 3 losses. The Rutgers is a quad 3 loss, and USC, who's had a terrible year, is a quad 3 loss. So that hurts Seton Hall. But anyway, with St. John's,
I mean,
they're 40 in the net ranking.
there.
So
They're
that's
it's not bad considering what's gone on recently.
Now it'll be interesting to see. Here's what you got to do. They got to go blow out DePaul and St. John's. Not St. John's. Georgetown. Yeah. Because with the metrics, with the net rankings, the margin of victory matters. Because not only winning, you got to go blitz those teams.
You got to
go beat DePaul by 30, 40 points. Go beat Georgetown by 20, 30 points. Because if you don't, you could fall.
I think
if you beat them by a small margin.
I think you got to go on the road to Georgetown, and I wouldn't say it would be a disappointment, but if you don't beat them by 25, 30, that's underwhelming a little bit. I mean, because you're going to DePaul, they've been historically bad, but it is kind of you still got to be ready to play your A game. But Georgetown, you're at home, last game of the season. I want to see them bring some energy that game. I want to see them that would be a good win for them to end off the season 5 straight if they could just put up some.
Yeah, so
points
it's about how they're playing. I mean, you want to take care of those teams and really beat them by a large margin. Again, DePaul, you should beat them by 30, 40 points. Right. Georgetown should be 20-plus points. And again, it matters for the net rankings. They got to keep that ranking up there because it's something that's going for them. I mean, they went from 44 to 40 with last night's win, and last night's win's impressive. Now, Butler's a decent team. Butler is inconsistent, but they're a decent team to go to their place and beat them like that. That shows something. So St. John's is on the right track. They have more work to do. So let me ask you this: they win the next 2, so they win them handily. They take care of business and really beat those teams by large margins. So they'd be 19-12 and 11-9 in the conference going into the Big East tournament. Would a see now it depends on. Here's the thing.
Point.
It depends on.
You said they would handily beat DePaul and Georgetown.
Yeah. So say they really take care of them. So now 19-12, 11-9. All right. So they go to Big East tournament. If they have to play in the first round, the top 5 get a bye.
Yeah.
6 through 11 play in the first round on Wednesday, March 13th.
Right.
We got a call for pizza. Hold on 1 second.
Evan, could you go down to the...
All right, everybody, our pizza delivery's here. We do have the big state tournament game coming up tonight, the sectional semifinal. Union Catholic is playing Rutgers Prep, so we got some pizza to have between our show and the game. So sorry for that interruption there. So get back to St. John's. Going to the Big East tournament, all right? Top 5 teams in the Big East, 11 teams. Top 5 get a bye into the quarterfinals on Thursday, March 14th.
You want to say UConn, Marquette, Creighton, Seton Hall, Providence, or Villanova? I don't know.
Well, so here's the thing. So can St. John's, if they're 11-9, can they get into the 5th spot? Because if they get in the 5th spot,
possibly.
Then
depends on what Providence
they get a bye.
They're Providence and Villanova, dude.
So, but let's try to simplify here. Whether they get a bye or not,
right?
They're on the outside looking in, but they're only a half a game behind Providence and Villanova. Now, how did they do against Providence?
I think they beat Providence. I'm pretty sure. I
think they split. They beat them at home. They lost on the road.
That's what
And then what did they do against Villanova?
They lost. They just lost to Providence by 3 on the road. I think they lost to Villanova too. No, they beat Villanova by 20, and they beat them by 10 at Villanova's place.
Okay, so they own the tiebreaker of Villanova. So St. John still has a chance.
Yeah.
At the 5 seed.
Right.
But let's say they don't get the 5 seed.
Yeah.
They're then going to play a first-round game where they're not going to get any brownie points for winning the game because they're going to be playing a team that you're not
trying to.
You're not going to get much out of beating that team because they're probably going to be playing Georgetown or DePaul, because they'll be the 6 or 7 seed. I mean, it could be the 8 seed, but if they win the next 2 games, they probably won't be. They'll probably stay ahead of Xavier.
Yeah.
So if they're the 6 or 7 seed playing in the first round, you're getting Georgetown or DePaul. So you're not gaining anything by beating one of them.
Yeah.
You got to beat them
ago.
to survive and advance.
Yeah.
So then, I think the big question is, if St. John's then say they win that first round game, okay, they're in the quarterfinals, or even if they get a bye into the quarterfinals. So quarterfinals, is it fair to say they're going to have to win that quarterfinal game to get in the tournament? Is that enough to get in the tournament?
I would say you pose a great question. I say yes because you beat, like you said, it's not going to really be a challenge to go up against Georgetown or DePaul in that first round matchup, especially when you beat them a week prior, hopefully handily. I mean, that's not going to justify
get
getting
anything.
A
The committee's not going to
Yeah.
give them anything for beating one of those teams again.
It's not going to get it's not going to impress anyone to beat DePaul by 20 in
but
first round.
if they win the last 2 regular season games, say they're playing a first round game, which again, it's possible they get the 5 seed. Possible. But say they win a first round game. They're 20-12.
Right.
They were 11-9 in the regular season in the Big East. They go win a quarterfinal game, get to the semifinals. Now they're 21-12 and winners of
Like
7 in a
6
row.
Yeah, 7 in a row.
Are they in the tournament then?
I think yes. If you beat a team like, what do you want? You want to say Seton Hall?
You're going to beat a good team.
You're going to play Seton Hall, Creighton.
Well, it depends on what. Yeah, they could. Right, Seton Hall, Creighton. It could be Marquette.
Could be.
Obviously, you beat Marquette. I
Yeah.
mean, you're definitely in. You beat Creighton, you're definitely in. And Seton Hall. The problem with Seton Hall is Seton Hall's low in the metrics, but Seton Hall's still going to be
a
good
good
win.
win, especially with what's already happened.
Seton Hall's going to be a quad 2 win in the Big East tournament for St. John's. So, yeah, I would say they're in.
Yeah, if they win a quarterfinal game, I think there's no question they're in.
So St. John's has to get to the semifinals of the Big East tournament.
Pretty much
to make the tournament.
Yeah, which I mean, they have the path laid out for them right now. They could win these 2 games to close out the regular season against low level competition. They beat another low level team, and I mean that could pose a problem though. I didn't think about that. You play 3 straight low level teams and you go into the quarterfinal and got to play a team like, you want to say Marquette or Creighton, you could get blitzed early if they're not ready to play. But yeah, pretty much if they get to that semifinal, I think you got to give them a berth in the playoff in the tournament.
Yeah, the only thing I wonder is if their quarterfinal game is against Seton Hall. Will beating Seton Hall be enough? Because again, Seton Hall doesn't do well in the metrics. And then where's Seton Hall going to be at? Is Seton Hall, going to be going in limping where they've lost 4 games? Well, I take that back because they're not going to lose to DePaul. But say they go in and they've lost to Creighton, they've lost to UConn, they've lost to Villanova. Their metrics go down even more.
I don't.
That's
a very. Tough
or
question.
does Seton Hall go in and I don't think they beat UConn, but say they've beaten Nova, they've beaten DePaul. I think beating Seton Hall should be enough. Seton Hall's a good team. I just wonder with the metrics if they would be a quality enough opponent according to the metrics for St. John's to be in with a quarterfinal win, or would St. John's then have to go win a semifinal?
I don't think they'd have to win a sem. I mean, actually, if they beat, I don't know. It depends on how much credit the committee is going to give them for beating Seton Hall. But like you said, the metrics. I mean, they're a good team. Like you look at the team, you go look at Seton at St. John's season as a whole, and you look at Seton Hall season as a whole. St. John's beating Seton Hall in the quarterfinals would be an impressive win by any measure, pretty much. And
I agree, it is an impressive win.
Yeah.
It's just with the metrics, Seton Hall doesn't do well in the metrics, and if Seton Hall struggles down the stretch, it's going to hurt their metrics even more.
Who's Seton Hall? They got DePaul. Don't they have DePaul and
DePaul the last regular season game at home,
and then Villanova in the middle.
Yeah, their last 2 games are at home.
Yeah, UConn.
Yeah, UConn's
so I mean,
up next.
they could easily struggle there, and then that could bring down their poll.
Yeah,
kind of the way the committee views them.
I would say it's going to be enough. It's not guaranteed, but if their opponent's Marquette or Creighton, they beat them in the quarterfinals. They got to be in the tournament.
Easily.
You win that game, then then you're in. But again, it's so important that they blow out
DePaul.
Georgetown and DePaul.
And then whoever your first round matchup
And
is.
first round's probably going to be Georgetown or DePaul
Yeah.
if they're in the first round. I would say likely they are, but again,
Yeah.
they could be the 5 seed.
Yeah.
So let's just look at this real quick.
What if
Because
they're
they
the
got to
five?
catch Providence and Villanova for the 5. Providence goes to Georgetown. They're going to win that.
Right.
But then they play UConn. Let's say they
probably lose.
They're home, but let's say they lose, so they finish up 11. Wait a minute. Providence has 3 games left. Did I miss one? I missed. Sorry, folks. Oh, they play Villanova next. I missed that one. So
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Let's say they go 1-2, because they play Villanova and UConn at home. Let's say they win one of those. So let's say they go 1-2. They're 10-10. So then St. John's ahead of them. So you got a chance to leapfrog Providence.
Which would be really good.
And then say Nova. Let's see. Nova's got 3 games left. We know one of them is Seton Hall. They go to Providence. They go to Seton Hall, and they host Creighton. They got a tough schedule.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what's going to go on for St. John's, I mean, a lot of it in college basketball is just a result of what these other teams do. I mean,
Yes, for the 5 seed, St. John's, you want Villanova to beat Providence.
yeah.
Because then Providence, good chance they lose to UConn. So they're 10-10. St. John's 11-9. They leapfrog them. And then Villanova, again, they play at Seton Hall. They play Creighton. So say they lose one of those games, very well can.
Yeah.
Say they go 2-1. They're 11-9, but you said St. John's beat them twice.
Yeah.
So
St.
St.
by
John's,
handling margin. They beat them by 20 at home and then by 10 on the road.
so St. John's legitimately has a chance to be the 5.
Right.
So a legitimate chance to finish to the 5, which then helps. It's like, okay, you finish top 5 of the Big East, you got to bye.
That's
so the
definitely,
committee
yeah.
sees that, and then it's very likely going to be St. John's versus Seton Hall in that quarterfinal, 2:30 at the Garden on March 14th.
Yeah.
That would be something.
That would be something.
And that could be a tournament playing game. You know, because again, if Seton Hall loses to UConn and Nova, beat DePaul, then they're going to that game, and they may very well have to win that game. So you got an NCAA tournament playing game in a quarterfinal at Madison Square Garden, the Big East tournament. That would be something else.
All right.
So,
True.
all right.
We got any final thoughts?
Got a lot of thoughts, but we got to go
Yeah.
to the NFL, and then we're talking Bruce Springsteen. So we'll cut it off here, Rye.
So we will be back shortly with our NFL segment of In the Vault.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Parmenter, and we're doing the NFL segment of In the Vault. I'm joined by Ryan Conlon, Evan Floyd, and Jacob Neshabor. How are you
Yep.
guys?
Good.
Doing great. Very excited to get talking more NFL.
Feeling good today.
So, first thing on the agenda, Saquon Barkley has publicly announced that he is interested in joining the Texans. And, honestly, I think that's a great fit.
Definitely is.
Yeah, I mean, I think adding another offensive piece to that young team could have a great impact on them. I mean, it adds a strong presence.
That's a veteran presence in a team where, I mean, it's also fit for the Texans especially because they have $50 million of open cap space because they have a quarterback on a rookie contract. So, I mean, it fits for them. They get a veteran presence in there. They get a running back that they desperately need.
Especially with how bad Dameon Pierce was last
And
year.
especially behind that offensive line. I mean, you have Tunsil behind. I think Barkley running behind Tunsil just doesn't really that sounds good
Don't
to
feel
me.
fair.
That doesn't sound good to me. So, yeah, I would love that move.
I just think it's crazy that the fact that we're calling a 27-year-old a veteran presence. I think
On the Texans, he is.
I mean, it just goes to show how young the Texans are.
it also
Texans
just shows you like
Even
how
on defense.
it also just shows you how quickly running backs age out.
Yeah,
and-
but he didn't.
And speaking of running backs age, another stat that I found is that Todd Gurley is actually a year younger than Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Derrick Henry's 30 years old. Todd Gurley is 29. It's just the fact that Todd Gurley got arthritis.
For a running back, that's pretty old.
He's like a great grandpa.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So is there anything else to talk about Saquon?
Not really about Saquon.
So, on to the Chiefs cornerback that they recently just franchise tagged and also granted their camp permission to seek a trade. L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah, I mean, he's had one of the best years for a corner this year. I mean, I think he allowed one. He allowed that touchdown to Shakir in the AFC Championship, but aside from that, I don't think he allowed any touchdown in the regular season.
Shakir's
the
Bills.
No, I know. I said.
You said AFC Championship. The Bills made it to divisional.
Sorry, AFC. That's what I meant. AFC divisional.
Mean what you say and say what you mean.
AFC divisional. But I mean, aside from that, that was the only touchdown he really gave up this year. I mean, he was incredible.
I mean, he was fantastic in the Super Bowl, preventing that touchdown from.
No, Zay Flowers punching the ball out from Zay Flowers at the goal line.
Oh, that's
AFC
a great play.
Championship, too.
That's a great play.
That really saved the game right there. So, I mean, that's a good job by the Chiefs. I mean, they obviously want to continue having this core that got them to where they got.
This is a guy, I'm not just being biased here, this is a guy that I think would fit perfectly with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Because you're looking for a young, good corner. You have Joey
Aaron
Porter,
yeah.
but you need to replace Patrick Peterson because he was awful.
That's right.
This is the perfect guy for that spot.
JP's also needs a bit more development.
Agreed. He can't be that number one corner quite yet.
Yeah, I mean,
L'Jarius Sneed is what, 26 years old?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I think he's 25 because he was a fifth-round pick.
Perfect.
Any other thoughts?
No, not really.
I mean, I think what needs to be said has been said. He's a great guy. He's a perfect
corner.
piece for
Chiefs.
a team in need of a corner. Yeah.
So, as today starts the NFL Combine, you know what that means. NFL Draft.
You know what that means? Nobody's going to participate in the combine, and we're not going to see anybody
Bingo.
important.
That's right.
Bingo. I mean,
It's like the NBA All-Star game. You know, none of the important people play. And none of the important people compete in the combine. So what's the point?
I mean,
it starts off draft talks, really. That's really what it starts up.
Yeah.
And what better to start off draft talks is a top 5 mock draft. So, who do you guys have the Chargers picking at 5?
Who do I have for what? The
Chargers picking at 5.
Chargers?
In my opinion, I have them picking either Neighbors or Dunze.
I don't think a Dunze would. I think especially with Johnston already there, and I mean you're gonna have.
Johnston isn't a deep bet though.
Yeah, but I mean.
Mike Will is though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Problem is Mike
you're
Will.
gonna have. I mean, you're gonna have Keenan's gonna be back, but I mean, you never know how many more years you're gonna get out of his.
And the thing was the Mike Will is that they're probably gonna trade him or cut him.
I would pick Neighbors over.
Considering
Dunze.
how
That's just me.
considering how much he costs.
personally, yeah,
I'll
I'm
pick
I'm
Neighbors
picking
over.
Neighbors.
Neighbors
there.
is just a more well-rounded receiver, and I mean he's a good fit to pair with a quarterback like Herbert and a coach like Harbaugh.
I mean, yeah, that's such a talented team, but coaching is Coaching has always been the issue.
To be
with the
honest,
Chargers.
if there was a running back in this draft that I was really impressed with, I would seek that out. But I mean, there's really nothing.
Problem is running back.
Yeah.
The running back class is absolutely
That's the
horrible
problem.
this
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
who are you gonna take? Blake Corum at 5 overall? No, they can't. There's no.
year. He's a second rounder.
Yeah.
He's a second rounder at best.
Okay,
So-
USA Today, which is not a very good sports source,
It
but
has
it's
no
interesting,
teams.
has them taking Brock Bowers.
Oh yeah, actually, I heard a lot
I
about
don't know
Brock
about
Bowers.
that. I mean, they already have Gerald Everett.
I mean,
I don't
it's
think they already have Gerald Everett.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
think they need.
Okay, for a second, I thought they had Brock Bowers just as a wide receiver. I'm like, what are we doing?
No. There's two different people that made their picks. I tried to get Mel Kiper's pick, but it's ESPN
I don't
Plus.
think
You're
you
gonna
want
listen to
Mel
Mel
Kiper pick. I
Kiper?
don't
You're
think
gonna
you
listen to Mel
want
Kiper?
Mel Kiper's a genius.
What?
He's a
What
genius
did you
when
just
he,
say?
He's a genius when he does
What
like
did you
this.
just say?
Never-
A genius at making terrible picks. Yeah.
A genius at being an absolutely atrocious analyst. Never listen to this man again.
Okay.
That
I'll
was
just-
an outtake.
we're just hating
Bro.
today.
Yeah.
I didn't mean like that. All right, so
All right,
number
so-
4, I feel like that's an obvious pick there.
Right.
You're right. Yeah.
Marvin Harrison.
Yep.
Nothing else to be said about that.
Yep.
I think to me, like, I don't want to go back to what we just talked about, but to me, it kind of comes down to that Neighbors is just better than O'Dunes, and O'Dunes is just, and Harrison Jr. is just like somewhat
That
above the class.
So
Is it-
this is O'Dunes, this is Neighbors, this is Harrison.
Yeah.
I mean, there's such a large gap between Harrison and Neighbors. It's not even funny.
Yeah. All right.
Number-
so
Number
moving
3
on.
pick, Patriots. They've publicly stated that they've wanted a quarterback, and
I mean,
I think J.J. McCarthy is perfect fit for that team.
listen.
Right. Yeah.
Which quarterback? JJ McCarthy at 3?
Oh what is
You
that?
want JJ McCarthy to get drafted at 3?
I'm kidding. It's obviously Jaden Daniels. What is that haircut?
That
That is
that's really
absolute- that is
something.
atrocious.
That's
3.
that's-
You want JJ McCarthy to go at 3.
I was
JJ
joking.
McCarthy is a 3rd rounder.
I was
He's like a
joking.
fifth
It's
rounder.
Jaden
Fifth
Daniels.
rounder.
JJ McCarthy is a 3rd round talent, if that.
At best.
That's his best talent. It's
Hey,
like his
listen.
optimal talent.
Listen, when he becomes the next Tom Brady, don't you
he-
guys go
if
hating
he-
on me.
Why?
If
Because
he-
he went to Michigan? Why? Because he's going to get
Yeah.
picked in the 7th
Yeah.
round? No.
Hey,
actually,
listen,
if you're
actually,
gonna
there's
get-
a 6. Actually, there's a 6.
Brock
If you're gonna get picked by the Patriots, you're gonna become a good QB. Either that or you
Mac
become
Jones.
like
Mac
listen.
Jones is
Mac
not a good
Jones says
Listen, no,
otherwise.
wait.
Bailey Zappi
When
says
you're coming up
otherwise.
with, listen, when you're dealing with Patriots QBs, you've either got great or you're really, and I mean really bad.
Tom Brady says I'm QB.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Totally.
Name another good quarterback, great quarterback in the Patriots history other than Tom Brady.
Billy
Tom-
Zappi. For that 2-game span.
Well, listen, when you've had Tom Brady for about 20 years,
Okay, that's
No,
valid.
Drew Bledsoe.
Okay.
Drew Bledsoe.
Well, I said great.
Yeah.
Is he
I mean,
great?
he's good, but he's not great.
I mean, you had Brady for a
I mean, he's better
decent
than
amount
Zap.
of Patriots history. I'd say
This is
that's
true.
that's enough. That's all you need
Very
to know.
This is very true.
All right. Moving on.
I mean, it's obviously Jaden Daniels at 3.
Right.
Jane Daniels is a better pick. He's an
A
athlete.
much better pick.
Pure
A
athlete.
much better pick.
There's a lot there for Jared Mayo to do.
That's right.
So,
Gerard Mayo.
two
whatever.
with the
Commanders.
Commanders. Actually, this is a hot take. We'll get to this later, but I think they take Caleb Williams. I don't think Caleb Williams goes number 1 overall.
What?
I mean, look.
I
I
don't
mean,
know if I agree
Drake-
What
with
did
that.
Bears do at 1 then?
I don't know if I agree with that.
either trade the pick or draft Drake May.
I don't think they're. I don't think.
What?
No, I did. That's
Drake
bad.
May,
Six and out.
Drake May is not as good as quarterback as
Wait,
Caleb
so
Williams
Drake,
is right
there's
now.
in your world, Drake May goes before Caleb Williams.
Yes.
Farm, bro.
Look,
God,
what are
I'm-
we talking about here?
I mean,
The only way that Caleb Williams
It's
is
not
not the
impo-
first pick is if
Yeah.
the Bears decide to go otherwise because they're keeping Justin Fields, or the Bears decide to trade it away to a team that doesn't. A team that
I
doesn't.
don't think they're
need
gonna trade it away.
They're not gonna
I
trade
don't
it
think
away.
they're
You
gonna trade it
don't trade
away.
away number
You don't
pick.
trade it away when you have a draft class like this.
When you're a couple pieces away,
I mean,
the
that's
Bears
that-
are from being a fringe playoff team. You don't.
they're not even a fringe playoff team. They are a fringe
But
playoff
I-
team. They-
So
They already
maybe
are.
a couple.
I mean, that is a
pieces
tough
away
division,
from
though.
being a playoff.
It's a tough division,
That's
especially
true.
with Love developing, and you have the Lions and the Vikings with Cousins likely coming back. So it's going to be tough. But I think just for those reasons alone, I don't think they trade that pick.
I still think.
And I think if they
still
keep
May
that
is a
pick,
higher
If you're the
Think if-
Chicago Bears, you need to go in there. You
think
need
if
to
they
go
keep
draft
that pick,
Caleb Williams.
I think if you keep that pick, I don't think there's any chance the Bears
You
draft
need to
Drake May.
draft Caleb Williams. But what we've talked about, and I've talked about it with many people, that keeping Matt Eberflus makes you think they're keeping Justin Fields. But then on the other hand, you're hearing Justin Fields to the Falcons,
Yeah.
which is
Ooh,
disgusting.
that's disgusting. I like that.
Wow.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I
I don't.
want Justin Fields. I want him in black and gold.
Why?
What do you mean?
Why?
I just don't want to see it.
What do you mean, why?
Why? So Kenny Pickett doesn't get back under center and throw 6 touchdowns in 13 games.
I thought you liked him.
Why does he average
Listen,
140 passing yards
I
per
mean,
game?
he's obligated to like his QB because that's the team he supports.
He doesn't
But
like
oh
Kenny- he
my
doesn't like
God,
Kenny Pickett.
6. I mean, you heard what he just said, right? 6 touchdowns in
Let's look at the
13
stats.
games.
Let's look at the stats. I'll
6.
pull them up. We'll show them to the crowd, okay? 2023, 62% completion percentage, 2,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Imagine him
That's I know we missed at the end of the
What's his
season.
What's his QBR?
81.4.
Oh
Not
my
good.
God.
That's a Hall of Fame quarterback to me.
Terrible.
It's like it's Justin Fields.
Yeah, I love that move. I love that move, but it's never gonna happen. So
Somebody get the Eagles a QB because I mean.
Oh my God!
What?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
What?
Shut up. You do not need a QB.
What?
You don't need a QB. You're talking to 2 Giants. You don't need a QB.
my ears just exploded. Oh my God.
Listen,
My ears
if-
just
I'm not hearing you out.
If-
I'm not
if-
hearing you out.
You've just
if
been-
You just signed Jalen Hurts to a 5-year, 255, whatever it is.
I can't. It was a, tone your voice
listen.
down.
If the tush push ceases to exist, what does Jalen Hurts have?
A McDonald's worker. That's all
Exactly.
he is. He's flipping burgers at
A
McDonald's.
2022 Super Bowl performance.
Look,
Nah, he led his
I
team
would
to the
do-
Super Bowl. In
I would do
2022.
absolutely
Throws for
anything to have
300.
Jalen Hurts on my
Yeah,
team.
So
Anything?
would I.
I mean, honestly, it looks like you're just looking for anybody on your team right now. I mean, to be fair, that's
Justin
kind of
Fields-
what you need
Just-
is
Justin
anybody
Fields
who
is-
isn't
My God,
Kenny
dude, look at
Pickett.
the team. Look at the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Defense is ready to win.
Pickens.
You got George Pickens.
You
You
want
got
Tommy
Deontay Johnson.
You
You
want Tommy
Lamar.
DeVito?
got,
Najee-
got,
Tommy
you got
DeVito.
Najee
Tommy
Harris.
DeVito.
Jalen
Tommy
Williams.
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
Give me a quarterback. You're winning the Super Bowl.
Tommy
Pat
DeVito.
Pat Fryermuth.
Tommy DeVito.
I don't know about winning the Super Bowl.
Tommy
I mean,
DeVito.
I said give me a good quarterback.
Tommy DeVito.
Give me Jalen Hurts. The Steelers are Super Bowl
Stop
champions.
Taysom
saying
Hill.
Tommy
Taysom
DeVito.
Hill.
Stop saying Tommy DeVito. You
stop
said
yelling?
Tommy
Listen,
Taysom Hill.
if we get Jalen
Stop
Hurts from the
yelling.
first half of the season, yeah, for sure, Super Bowl winners. You get Jalen Hurts from the second half of the season, I don't know.
I think you just said-
Sirianni's the problem in
He's a-
Philadelphia.
we
I'll
don't
tell you
need
I
that.
mean, to be fair, he
He's
did lead his team to a Super
That
Bowl.
guy's
Sirianni is the problem.
That guy's a loser.
not an off-season top.
Yeah.
He's that loser mentality.
He's already back.
Well,
so
I
there's
mean,
no
no, I
talk
think
about
I think it is kind of an off-season
They-
topic. What do you need to do to
No,
fix the team?
But he's back.
get rid of
Fire
He's
Sirianni.
back. He's not getting fired.
But he needs to be.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's gonna happen.
I believe ever since that he.
When your quarterback is more mature than you, that's a problem. When you're sitting there waving to the Chiefs in a game that you
Bye
lost.
bye Chiefs
Oh
fans.
no, you won. You
Bye
won.
bye.
They
They were
won.
1-6 since won that half.
A game that
Yeah.
you won, you're waving the Chiefs fans in Arrowhead Stadium, and your quarterback has to put your arm down. That's a problem right there.
You should have lost that game.
Hey? Oh, win
You
you
can't-
win.
you can't-
Should have, could have, would have.
The Elias Angle rule, okay? You can't play the what if.
Yeah.
Can't play what if.
I hope you know Tommy DeVito. Tyra Taylor dice your team. I don't hear anything.
Well, nah, I got
Darius-
nothing.
Yeah,
I
stay
got-
silent,
I
stay
got-
silent,
I got
stay
nothing
silent.
to say.
Darius Slayton.
I mean-
Darius Slayton got a 60-yard touchdown passing into a team.
No, listen.
You let a man that was on
Yeah.
was about to be cut get a 60-yard touchdown
Yeah.
off you.
Listen. When
You allowed Baker to slice and
I
dice.
gave up
Well,
on
I
the
mean, Baker's
Eagles
Baker's
when-
him.
Yeah, yeah,
Baker's him.
I
I'd
gave
also-
up on the Eagles when they lost to the Giants. I mean, that's got to be the saddest thing in football right now, losing to the Giants.
I mean, when they played the Commanders to a 3-point game,
The
I think you saw there was something wrong. So, I mean, moving on from the Eagles.
we're just kind of
yeah,
bickering
we've
right now.
just been talking about
I love
nothing.
bickering. It's
That's
so,
right.
It's so
It-
fun.
yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what the NFL offseason is about. You just kind of
Just
argue
talk,
with
yeah.
each other about, this year is our
Really,
year.
what I wanted to talk
Like, we had a
about is
Cowboys
where-
fan here?
Really, what I wanted.
Zach,
Hope he never comes.
my bad. I had something.
Uh,
What?
Oh, something in your throat?
What?
Yeah, I get you.
What?
Um,
What did you just say?
I said, hope he never shows up.
That's not what you said.
Hey, okay. So, moving on.
Mock draft.
Mock draft. Didn't we already do the mock draft?
Yeah, I think so.
Williams.
Drake May number one
Williams,
is kind
May,
of absurd.
Williams,
I'm not going to lie to you.
Williams, May.
I like
Harrison.
Drake May.
Williams, May.
I mean-
Harrison. O'Dunes. You get it.
I mean, so, okay, let's think about some local teams, right? You got the Giants and the Jets.
Poverty.
One of them sucks, and the other one of them is mid. What do you do in the offseason to not suck
Well, I
or
mean,
be mid?
Jets,
For the Jets, just build O-line. For the Giants, get rid of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Giants need to
Rebuild.
rebuild.
For the second time in 10 years. I
Hey,
love.
listen,
I
they-
love this team.
They were good just over a
Team's
decade
awful.
ago, kind of.
they were good last year. They were here.
And then,
and then they get the hardest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah.
What is this?
Well,
And then you get blown out.
I mean, to be
40-0.
fair, even if they had an easy schedule, there's
Yeah,
not a lot you're
exactly,
doing
yeah.
with the Giants.
Yep. So I mean, I agree. I think the Jets build an offensive line because I mean I think they're doing what they. I think they're dead set on a plan. I think the Giants have less of a clue of like what. I mean, I think they have some semblance of what they want to do, but I don't know that they're like fully in on a rebuild yet. But they should
They
be.
should be.
They should
I mean,
be.
I
But
mean,
I don't think they are.
they already have a few pieces. They have a young cornerback, young
Safety.
safety potentially. They may
Some
not
good-
re-sign him.
Some
They have one of the best linebacker duos in the NFL, McFadden and Okereke. They have Dexter Lawrence, the best defensive tackle in the league. They also have Kayvon Thibodeau.
except for Chris Jones.
No,
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones is an edge rusher.
No, he's not. He's a D tackle. Chris Jones is a D tackle.
Sacks don't mean everything as a defensive lineman.
Yes.
They
I didn't
don't.
say they are. He's just better than Dexter Lawrence.
Sacks
Speaking of
mean everything
Chris
as a
Jones,
defensive.
As a defensive tackle, no, they don't.
Yes, they do.
It's
As a
about
defensive
pressure, it's about
tackle?
pressures.
Yeah, no, I'm
As-
just messing around.
As a defensive tackle,
Pressures.
it's about pressures, QB hits, and
I mean,
I'm a little bit.
obviously not. I don't think there's a
It's
single.
always about sacks.
I think with any sport, I don't think there's a single stat that like defines
no,
who you are.
especially in football.
Right, and especially in football, there's like.
touchdowns.
I mean,
I
not really. I mean, there's been plenty of players that are like.
I mean, there have been like 11 receptions, like
11
like
players in
250 yards.
Or like that one Randy Moss game, 3 receptions for 185 for 3 touchdowns.
3 for
Well,
165.
okay,
Oh my God! Why do you have this memorized? Stop doing that.
Actually,
he
it's
knows
165.
everything, man. Like,
So all right. So moving on. I do. What were you talking about? Giants, Jets.
That's
what they
right.
were gonna do. Okay. So I mean, do you want to talk about? You brought up Chris, or I brought up Chris Jones. I really wanted to see him go to the Texans, but I don't think it's gonna happen, especially with how much cap space they have. I think Barkley's probably a better fit, but Jones would be. Imagine Jones on that Texans team. What that would do.
that would be
They do it,
really cool.
'cause he's gonna
Ew,
cost-
ew, ew.
The Chiefs
I don't-
can't.
I-
The
that would
Chiefs
be
can't.
disgusting.
Chiefs can't really afford. I mean, they can afford him.
Yes, they can. They can
No,
aff-
no, because if they sign him for at least 20, he's going to be at least 25 million.
That means at least 30.
So wait, we're talking
Eh.
about the Chiefs here.
That would go over.
Who are we
Or
talking?
10 million.
Well,
We'll go over the 10 million
We
they have
moved on
left.
to a different conversation. I didn't even hear.
Oh, we were talking about Chris Jones and signing.
All right, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
Back to local teams. Back to local teams.
Well, I mean,
Are the Giants over the cap or no?
no.
Okay,
Not yet.
so sign a guard, and re-sign McKinney, draft a wide receiver, and then I think it's perfect offseason
That's
right there.
right. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make you good, but it makes you better than really bad. You know?
Yeah, just acceptable.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it's like almost. You're like almost not bad. You know?
Well, I mean,
Also, the Giants finally have a new O-line coach, so Evan Neal can hopefully develop and not
hopefully.
and
Hopefully.
not and not and not,
not have
be
a
talking
39.8 PFF grade.
and not be talking to people on Twitter and Instagram.
Not calling
People calling
people
them
hot.
burger flippers.
Well,
That was so funny. That was
that was one of the.
That was one of- that
the
was-
fact that that's one of the best things to come out of the Giants season.
I mean,
is saying a
listen,
lot.
it's really funny, but like it doesn't make good football. You know?
It makes good memeing. That's
It-
all it
it-
does.
listen, it's
the only reason
really
he said that was because
so funny.
was going
Like,
so badly.
one of the funniest things to happen. One of the greatest things that happened with the Giants all season.
Giants are some of the best. Giants fans are some of the best trolls I've ever seen. Man.
I completely agree.
New York fans in general.
New York fans in
yeah.
general
New
are
York,
silly.
New York fans are just a lot of New York fans are trolls. Some of them are rude, but a lot of them are nice. So
So I mean,
except for Mets fans.
So
Yeah.
some
Mets
other
fans are
yeah.
obnoxious.
So
Yeah.
some other big free agents we have. I mean, we got Daniil Hunter. We've got
Oh.
Brian Burns. I mean, where do we see those guys?
Okay,
All right.
hold on. Back to the Brian Burns thing. Why did the Panthers not trade him?
I don't know.
There
They're stupid.
was
David Tepper's
teams
stupid.
offering for 3 first-round picks.
You're
for him.
talking about an owner that threw a beverage on a Jaguars fan. I don't think you can rely
Hey
on
man,
him
if
to
I
get
went
that
2-15,
far.
I'd throw
Yeah.
water on a Jaguars fan.
I
too.
mean,
can't
I'm
blame
not gonna lie to you guys. I mean, the Panthers, they get the #1 overall pick. They take Bryce Young. I mean, and
Wrong
their
pick.
season is
Hey,
somehow
I love
still.
Bryce Young. I
Bryce
like
Young-
Bryce Young. Dude, I don't care. I don't think he deserves.
Some
this.
people are really saying Bryce Young will
deserves this.
never develop, which I think is a
If
little
he's
unfair.
having-
I'm-
if he's having if he has to run for his life on every play and has to throw to Adam Thielen and Jonathan Mingo, I don't think you can
no,
really
I'm saying
judge the
this.
guy.
I'm
Can
saying
you really blame him for his terrible season when
No,
you're playing for you're
absolutely
playing for the
not.
Panthers? I mean,
And
what are you
you-
supposed
you
to
have
do?
one good
I'm
player.
saying this. If the Panthers did not trade DJ Moore, I don't think that team would be as bad as it is.
Oh,
And then
no,
you have to-
I
and then
mean, if
to
you
hand the
have, like,
ball
a-
off to Miles Sanders, who's averaging 1.9 yards per carry. I mean,
Absolute
it's a-
god and
that-
man.
That's
See, if he averaged 2, now that's a different story.
Yeah.
But you know, only 1.9 is
Yeah.
pretty sad. But
as if two's any better.
yeah.
hey, it's 0.1 better.
That's a lot.
Makes a lot of a difference here.
So, but if there was one place, I saw this on NFL.com, so don't think I'm just, because I do talk with the Lions a lot, but don't think I'm just
With the
saying this.
Glaze.
But I did see this on NFL.com. The Brian Burns to the Lions would be perfect.
I'd hate that. No.
Because
absolutely not.
you just hate that because you don't like the Lions.
Exactly.
If you put,
I don't like the
yeah,
Lions. They're
If you
annoying.
if you put Hutchinson and Burns on the same line, how are you going to stop that? Because
Why?
people just triple team Hutchinson every time. Then you put Burns on the opposite side of that. That could max the fact that the Lions secondary is absolute trash.
Lions got to be one of my favorite teams to watch in the
I
NFL, and
so
I think
agree with
adding
that.
something like that to their
So,
O
you're
line
just a hater.
or their line.
I'm a top 2 hater. What can I
Yeah,
say?
yeah. we
What can I
know.
say?
You're-
I love
They don't
it.
even play
You're a
each other.
Giants
They
fan.
don't
This is
even
what
play-
you. This is what you do.
If I can't feel happy,
If,
no one
listen,
else
if
can.
you don't have a good team to support, you just go and hate on everyone else.
It's like that for every sport, though.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, you were hating on your team, and while they were like what 10-5,
Well, okay, but that's because they went like 1-6 in their last 7 games.
Yeah, that's
my
true.
team went
Like,
4-15, or 4 and whatever. I don't.
Yeah, but we got blown out by Baker Mayfield. I'm not even
Baker's
gonna.
good.
Playoff appearance is a playoff appearance. Plus Baker's good. I don't
I'm,
need anything.
I'm not gonna get into this. Baker Mayfield's not all that.
Neither's Jalen Hurts.
No one ever. I mean, Jalen Hurts was.
Jalen Hurts was in the Super Bowl a
Jalen
couple
Hurts
years
made
ago.
the Super Bowl. Baker.
Baker was the #1 overall pick.
And?
Actually
What
showed
does that
potential.
matter?
So?
He actually showed potential.
Yeah, and then he
Okay, so
didn't
Brett Hurts
do
has
anything
shown more
with
in
it.
the
Not
NFL
not
than
his
had
fault that he hurt
Baker.
his shoulder and had 5 coaches in 5 years.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of his fault.
Yeah, if he
How's
should
that his fault?
Get luckier. I don't know what
Yeah.
to tell you, man.
I'm done with
have
you.
better, have
We're,
better,
no, we're
have,
done.
have better,
We're done. I'm
have,
not. I'm done
have better
talking to you.
shoulder strength than me.
I'm done. I'm done.
All right, so
All right, so that's gonna wrap up the NFL segment. We'll be back in a few with a music
Bruce
segment
Springsteen.
with Tony and Harrison. Don't go away.
And welcome back, everyone, to In the Vault. I'm Mr. Aranio. I'm joined right now by Tony Manusos.
Yes.
Manusos.
Yes, Manusos.
Okay.
Yep.
I've had you in class all year, but Manusos. Tony Manusos. And we have Jacob Netchabor here as well. He's on the board. He's going to be joining us as a commentator during this segment. So on Tuesday, our last show, Tony and his brother Harrison started a music segment. So they came to me not too long ago and said they would like to do a music segment on In the Vault. So I said, absolutely, that'd be great, because we are looking to expand and broaden our horizons and talk about non-sports topics as well, which we've done a little bit in the past, but not too much. So that's certainly something that we want to incorporate going forward. So having a music segment, I think, is going to be phenomenal. And you did a great job with the debut music segment on Tuesday.
Thank you.
So today, we're going to begin a discussion, a conversation, and also a debate on the best Bruce Springsteen songs. So I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. He's my favorite musician, my favorite musical artist, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. I love them. I've been a diehard fan since I was in high school. My parents grew up Bruce Springsteen fans. I actually met sort of because of Bruce Springsteen. Maybe another time I'll share that story. It's kind of a cool story.
It's a great story, yeah.
Have I told you the story?
Yes, you have.
I have.
Yeah.
I just don't remember things anymore. But it is a good story. But I'll share another time. So we're gonna discuss and debate the top or the best Bruce Springsteen songs. Tony and I were talking off air about this pretty extensively a couple days ago, how we wanted to approach this. So as we go, we'll explain it. So Tony has created his own personal top 25 Bruce Springsteen songs, okay? I was in the process of trying to make a top 25, and I was really struggling. I had my top 3, and then after that, I was like, man, there's so many great songs. I'm just not exactly sure how I'm going to evaluate them and come up with a top 25. So then what I did is I went to Google, and I've done this before looking at lists of top Springsteen songs. So Rolling Stone has an article. It's from 2018, so it's not very recent, but it's recent enough. Rolling Stone magazine article, top 100 Springsteen songs. So I got the idea that what we'll do is we'll go through those songs, and this is going to be a multi-show thing. Not that we're necessarily going to do it consecutive shows, but as we go the rest of the year, we'll come back to this list and continue the discussion and the debate. So we're going to go through the songs, and then what each of us are going to do is we're going to say whether we think that song is just about in the right place on the list, it's too high on the list, or it's too low on the list. And that'll prompt our discussion, debate. Tony's going to share his top 25 at some point. I'm going to work on my own personal one because, again, it's harder than you think. Because, I mean, if you're a Springsteen fan, he's got so many great songs. So it's quite a difficult task, but it's a lot of fun. So let's get into it.
Well, actually, before we look at the list, I have a question, Mr. Ranio. So Bruce Springsteen has made, since this list in 2018, 2 albums. Do you think that any song or multiple songs on those 2 most recent albums belongs in this top 100 list?
No. I would say no. I'd say the most recent albums, no.
It was a covers album, though, mostly.
Yeah,
right?
the most recent ones, I mean, I certainly think there are Springsteen songs from the 21st century. So you had The Rising in 2002, that album. You had Wrecking Ball. You had Magic. You had Working on a Dream. I'm trying to think of it. But he had several albums. He came out with the Live in Dublin album, which I really like. I really like that one. So he's had several albums in the 21st century that I think there's several songs that are great songs that are some of his best songs. So and that's a great thing about Bruce. I mean, he's been producing incredible music for 5 decades. I mean, he really came on the scene in 1973.
Right.
That's where he began to take off, and I'd say 1975 with the Born to Run album was where he really became a national figure, and then from there it just took off.
He hasn't looked back since.
Yeah. So again, lots of songs, lots of great debate to look forward to here and discussion. So you want to get going with this?
I say let's begin. Yes.
So the first song on it, number 100, is Fire. So, Tony, if you want to jump in there, we were talking off air about it a little bit. If you want to jump in and just give your take on that song. And
Personally, sorry to interrupt you on that.
Yeah,
Personally, I love this song. I think it's great. It's on the live 1975 to 85 album.
Yeah.
I think that version's great. There was a recorded version that was released on a compilation album years later in the 2000s, and that one's okay. But I think live is really where this song shines, and the ones from the early 80s, his performances of it, were just really fantastic stuff, really fun, and he does a good acoustic version of it sometimes. And I think it's a good song. He wrote it for Elvis. It's been covered by other artists, and personally, I think it should be lower than. I think it's
Or
at
higher?
least top. Yes, higher.
on the
Yes,
list, yeah.
at least top 75, top 70. But I don't know. I guess we can't really go off of anything because this is the first one we're looking at here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, you kind of get a better picture once we look at the rest of the songs.
Right.
But just offhand, I look at it, I say it deserves to be on the list. I think you can make an argument it could be higher. I'm okay where it's at. Just, again, when it comes to Springsteen, and there's bias here. I love him. You love him. Jacob loves him. But, to even make the top 100, that's how many great songs I think that he has and E Street has produced and his other bandmates over the course of the last 5 decades. Like, to be number 100 is not a slight. For other artists, you wouldn't even come close to being able to get to 100. So just being on the list means that it's a really good song. So I'm cool. I'm cool with where it is for now. Jacob, any insights?
I mean, yeah, I agree with you guys a lot. I'm not as deep of a Springsteen fan as you guys are.
Well, you've seen him twice live. So
I have seen him twice
that's
live.
saying something.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest. I don't know much about this song. I have heard it, but I'll take your guys' input here and say that it obviously could be a little higher. But I agree with Mr. Renio. It's tough with him because there's so much great music. It's tough to place even a top 100.
I think just being on the top 100 is an accomplishment. I mean, he's got at least a few hundred songs, and honestly, I don't think he has a bad song. There's some that I say, they're okay, and I could do without them, but. Again, top 100, it means something.
Well, Mr. Rainio, I know you have a very strong opinion about this song, which is at number 99.
Yeah, we talked about this song the other day. So, Tony, you want to introduce the song?
So, number 99 is American Land off the Wrecking Ball album from 2012. And
this is actually from Seeger Sessions.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, you said you really like a very specific live version of this song that appears on the live album, I believe.
Yeah, so American Land live in London, so at Hyde Park in London. This was 2009, 2010. I love that concert live. I listen to it all the time. And the rendition of American Land there is just phenomenal. It's a good song, studio version, but it's even better live. And that's the thing with Bruce is you could do a separate list for live songs because I think there's certain songs that are better or a lot better live, and then there's some that are better in studio. But this one is one that I love live. I mean, I would say live it's top 20 for me. It could even be top 10. All right. So I think this song should be significantly higher. I'm going to say at least top 75. Could maybe even be higher. Maybe even a top 50 song. But I would definitely say I'd have it at least in the top 75. I think 99 is low.
Fair enough. Yeah. No. Definitely a great song.
And I like that genre of music. Like in the Rolling Stone magazine, it says it's a rowdy Irish jig celebrating the American immigrant experience. So I like that type of music. I love Irish music. So it's got that kind of theme to it. So again, I think it's a great song. I personally love it. I'd have it a lot higher. All right, 98, we got Brothers Under the Bridge. I don't have a strong opinion here. I'm cool with it being on the list.
Yeah.
Not a song I'd say has to be higher. So again, some of these songs I think we can get through pretty quickly and just move forward. So that's one of my say. I'm cool with being at number 98.
County Fair, number 97 on the list.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of. Wait a minute. Cut 1983. I'm just reading up on the art. Was it? I'm actually drawing a blank here. Was County Fair on the? It says Nebraska. Was it on the Nebraska?
I believe
album?
it came after Nebraska, but it was around that same time.
I don't even know what album was on, to be honest with you. And again, no, songs I don't really have a strong opinion. Again, I'm cool with it being on the list, but I don't see it being higher than 97.
Yeah.
So I think that's one that we could move forward
Definitely.
from. Long Walk Home. This is from Magic, 2008. Again, I don't have a strong opinion on it. A good song, but again, I'm okay with it at 96. If it's not on the list, I'd be okay with that too.
Number 95, All That Heaven Will Allow, off the Tunnel of Love album. And that's kind of surprising because a lot of people really like that album. I think it was really critically acclaimed, and it still is to this day. So I guess that's the first time we're seeing a song on that album appear on this list, number 95.
Yeah, I love the Tunnel of Love song.
Yeah.
And there's a few really good songs on there. Again, it's another song. I'm cool with it being on the list. I don't have a strong opinion. If it wasn't on there, I wouldn't bat an eye. Again, another one, not much, an unreleased song, 1972. I've heard it a few times, not incredibly familiar with it, not one of those I've listened to tens of thousands of times, but, again, some of these I'm just going to say, I'm cool with it being on the list. If it wasn't on the list, that's fine. E Street Shuffle.
This one's surprising to me. This is another one that, it's not exactly a mind-blowing song at all, but I mean, I love it. It's on a great album, The Wild, The Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle. Really fun song when they do it live. They change it up a bit every once in a while, and some would say
I like
it's
it
even
better live.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's surprising to me.
First reaction is the same as yours.
I think it's low.
First reaction, I think it should be higher.
Yeah.
Got to see the rest of the list. I'd say you could make a case top 75. I'm not going top 50 with this one, but I think you have a top 75 case.
Yeah, this one is definitely one of the first big surprises, I think, for all of us.
This is, Sad Eyes. I love Sad Eyes. I guess I'll say okay with 92. I think it's a really good song. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I personally like it. I mean, it's from Tracks. Yeah, I'll say cool. 92. That makes sense. Oh, This is brutal.
Number 91, Ramrod from the River album.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
This is way low in my opinion. I'm partial to this song. I love this song. I don't think it's great in studio. It's okay. But live, man, he rocks the house with this song. And him and Stevie Van Zandt have a back and forth on the mic.
Right.
That's one of these songs that they'll extend out during a show. I love the song, and I just really love it live. If it was a live list, it might be top 10.
Yeah.
That's how much I love it live. At least top 20, maybe top 10 live. I'm saying maybe top 50. But I
mean, with an album like The River, you have so many songs on it. It's a really long album. All great songs. We'll definitely see a bunch more, if not the entire album on this list.
Again, studio version, it's good. Live, I think it's dynamite. So I get why it's 91, but to be fair, so I don't weigh live too much, at least top 75. I think I can make a case top 50.
Number 90, Back in Your Arms from the Tracks.
Beautiful song, but I don't think it deserves to be higher than this.
Oh, come on.
That's a joke.
Okay,
That's a joke.
I'm not going to spoil my top 25 list, but, I mean, I just got to say, number 89, Blinded by the Light. I mean, this is – you probably can't see from my reaction, but this is outrageous to me.
This is a song that – and I don't think popularity should determine where a song is on the list, but this is a song that people know. It's not Born to Run. It's not Dancing in the Dark. It's not Born in the USA. But it's a song that you don't have to be a big Springsteen fan to know this song. There's other.
There's the famous one is by the Manfred Mann's Earth Band, and to be honest, I don't even like that one that much.
Well,
I like
actually says that in the article.
Yes, yeah, Manfred Mann. I like this version way better. I love this song.
I'm going to say I like Bruce's version better, but they made that version. That's a great version of it too. Like, it's a very popular song.
Yeah.
Man, 89 is ridiculous. That's
not even top 50.
It's ridiculous.
To me, it's at least top 50. You're saying that it could crack your top 25. If somebody said to me it's in their top 25, I don't even bat an eye. I don't think it'd be in my top 25, but it's a nominee. It's definitely a top 50 song. 89 is ridiculous.
By the way, he played guitar and bass. Bruce played both on that song during the recording.
I love Tony's just going to drop the facts.
Oh,
man.
yeah. I got all the
this is
details. 88, Devils and Dust from the album Devils and Dust from 2005.
Didn't love that album. I actually saw a show on that tour. It was at the Continental Airlines Arena, the Meadowlands Arena. Not a big fan of the album. Just not my style. I appreciate all his music, so I never want to say it's the music or the lyrics. It's just not a personal favorite. I mean, 88, you want to put it there. Again, one of those songs I don't really have a strong opinion. I'm fine with it being there, but if you told me it's not the top 100, I'd be fine with that too.
I'm still processing Blinded by the Light being at 89.
Yeah, that's the worst one so far.
Oh, come on.
Disgrace.
What?
No, I take it back. What a joke.
Bobby Jean at 87 from the Born in the USA album.
No.
Classic song. I mean, pretty popular too.
Oh, what a disgrace.
That stings, that
Rolling
one.
Stone, what are you doing?
That stings.
That's at least top 25.
At least.
That's in the. If somebody told me that's in their top 10, I would not object.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, that hurts. That one. That kind of hurts.
Oh, that's bad. That's okay. So far, that's our worst. That's worse than.
86, Restless Light.
I mean,
Nights.
how is this above? How is this above Bobby Jean?
And Blinded by the Light. Yeah, 86, Restless Nights, for another song off the Tracks album. Seems like that's the album so far that we're seeing the most of on this top 100.
I don't think it's a top 100 song. Again, he's got so many songs. Like I don't know how you decide on that being in the top 100.
Fade Away from the River, number 85.
I think it's placed well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good song. Pink Cadillac, number 84.
Should be higher.
I mean,
there's a lot of people have that top 25. There'll be people that have that top 10. That's too low. That to me is like at least top 60. Argument for top 50. And again, there's people that'll have it top 25. And there's people that love that song. They love it. They'd put it top 20, top 15, top 10.
Not a fan of that placement.
Too low.
Lonesome Day, number 83.
I love this song, man.
Too low.
This is honestly one of my favorites. Like I said, not as deep as you guys, but I love this song. This is the song he opened up with the 2 times I saw him.
Yeah.
And I love this song. I think it's way too
great
low.
live. It's great. It's great studio. It's great live. Way too low. I think it's a top 50 song.
Yeah.
I think you can make a case top 25. It's a great song. I think let's continue to see the list, but maybe they're biased because it's one of his newer songs. I mean, it's from 2002, but his 21st century songs are his newer songs. So it could be that, but Rising is a great album. I'm partial to it. I was in high school at the time. It was post 9/11. That's why he made that album. It was a lot of it was based off of 9/11.
And that's probably his most popular
such an emotional
post-90s album.
Such an emotional album, those songs. Very emotional. If you were alive at that time, I mean, you guys were born after that. Just, I'm very connected to that album, so I'm biased, and that song, it's way too low.
Yeah.
Number 82, Drive All Night from the River album.
Make a case for higher. I think I'm good with that. But yeah, I don't object too much.
We can move on. Oh,
big time objection here.
Oh.
Number 81, Night from Born to Run.
Every one of the Born to Run songs should be
top 50, top
yeah,
40. I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say top 60 at least.
Oh yeah.
You could say top 50, top 40. To have any song in that album, to be pound for pound, is the best album of all time. Those 8 songs. So 81, I think, is ridiculous. And live, Night is a fan favorite live. They rock the house.
I love that
with
song
Night.
too. Yeah, really good one. Number 80. Well, let's see what beats it.
Oh.
Oh, what?
Oh, what is? We might have to pick a different list.
Number 80, Out in the Street from the River album. classic song, kind of a duet with Steven Van Zandt.
It's a top
kind
10.
of.
It's a top 10 song.
I love this song.
Really fun song.
I
really
would
good
argue
song.
anybody hard who says it's not in the top 10. I don't get that.
One of the best songs on the river too.
And again, it's another one live. It's huge live.
Right.
He often would play Badlands and Out in the Street back to back. He did that early 2000s. The Live in New York City album from Madison Square Garden.
Let's see what's placed ahead of that. Number 79, The Ties That Bind.
This list is
number
junk.
8, number 79.
Come on. Ties That Bind is top 20 for me. I can see top 10.
Rolling Stone putting a lot of the river songs on the lower half of the list here. My Hometown, number 78 from Born in the USA album.
I think that makes sense.
It's a nice song. I don't think it's one of the best on the
It's a
the
real
album.
nice song, but I'm cool with where it's at on the list.
Two Faces from Tunnel of Love, number 77.
I just don't understand how Two Faces is above Out in the Street, Blinded by the Light. What's the other one that got really snubbed? What was the one?
Lonesome Day.
Lonesome Day.
What was the one we really reacted to after Blinded by the Light?
Bobby Jean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. This is too high.
You know,
I don't even know it should be on the list, but it's too high.
As we get further in this, I feel like I'm more afraid to scroll down anymore. Just Roulette, number 76.
Again, I don't get how this song is ahead of some of the songs we just mentioned. So I'd say too high.
Number 75,
Too high.
We Are Alive by Wrecking Ball. Or on the Wrecking Ball album, my mistake.
I mean, I think it's one of the lesser songs on that album. And Wrecking Ball is a great work of art, but I think it's one of the lesser songs on that album. So how is it number 75? You're getting a top 75 now. You're talking. You're talking really good songs. No.
Let's keep going. Number 74, Johnny Bye Bye.
I feel like this list is, and I felt this way before when I scrolled through. I think they're like being too much with the diamonds in the rough, a bit too much. I don't see how this is 74. I don't even see how it's on the list, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it wasn't even on an album. Number 73, Rocky Ground from Wrecking Ball.
I think one of the lesser songs on that album.
Yeah.
Great, I love that album. But I just think it's one of the lesser songs, so there's no way it should be 73.
It's funny because I feel like now we're comparing a lot of these songs that we're not big fans of being like with their placement. We're comparing them to the ones that we really disagreed with now. And it's really starting to change what we think about this. Number 72, Gypsy Biker from the Magic album.
I think it's one of the lesser songs on the Magic album. I mean, I listen to the Magic album. I'm not even listening to Gypsy Biker.
Right.
I'm not. Like I've heard the song a few times. If I'm listening to that album, I'm listening to almost every other song on it before this. People have different tastes. I mean, that's what makes this fun. We're disagreeing a lot.
Number 71, Jack of All Trades.
Very solid song.
Another song
that's
on
one of the
Wrecking
best
Ball?
ones on Wrecking Ball. I'm cool with that. That's a depressing song, but it's powerful, very powerful. I feel like singing. Some of these songs I want to sing, but I'll spare the audience of that. Tony can sing, but yeah, I think that's a good spot for it.
Number 70, Better Days on the Lucky Town album.
Lucky Town on the Greatest Hits album. Yeah, I think it's a good spot. I don't know why it's on the Greatest Hits.
Yeah.
The Greatest Hits was an 18 song album. But 70 I think is a good spot for it.
Yeah. Cadillac Ranch number
Higher,
69
man, come on.
from the River album. They're
Cadillac, sing it, Tony. Cadillac, long and dark.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
shiny and black.
One of these days we got to
You
play.
should see me at a show. I've mellowed, but I used to sing every word passionately. Like you wouldn't even recognize me.
Hopefully, one of these days we could play some of these songs on a broadcast. You know.
You should.
Yeah, not big fans of some of the songs on the River.
Cadillac Ranch should be at least top 50.
By the way, I'm not saying I'm not big fan. I'm saying Rolling Stone on this list, putting a lot of these songs real low. Number 68, Your Own Worst Enemy on the Magic album.
Again, I think one of the lesser songs on that album.
Right. Number 67, Seeds.
Too high.
Yeah, it's on the live album from the 80s.
I usually skip over that song when I listen. That's another what's the word I'm looking
Like
for?
deep cut that they're trying to put on?
It's another criteria for me. Like if I'm listening to that album, and I have Springsteen discs in my car. I go old school, so I got the discs in my car. If that's a 3-disc set, the live 75 to 85,
Yeah.
I'm skipping over that song when I listen to that disc in my car. Not that it's a bad song. It's just I'm going to other songs. I'm going to Darlington County.
Right.
I'm going to
Oh, God.
trying to think what else is on there. But Darlington County, I love that song.
No, I just scrolled by accident. Just wait.
Okay, let's see why Jacob reacted
I'm
like
afraid. Oh, come on. Number 66, Glory Days, which is probably one of his 10 most popular songs.
that. That's like having Derek Jeter as a number 66 greatest Yankee. I mean, come on. I get you want to not just put all the popular songs up there. I'm all for that, but come on.
66.
The live factor too. That thing live is
Oh,
ridiculous.
so good.
That's another one that it hurts when you see it on this type of placement for this list. Number 65, Walk Like a Man from Tunnel of Love album.
Too high.
Not better than Glory Days. 64, American Skin, 41 Shots.
Powerful song. Too high.
Number 63, She's the
Joke,
One
Joke.
from the Born to Run album. Really good song. I love when they do it live with the harmonica in the beginning. It's an awesome song.
Well, again, it's Born to Run. I mean, every Born to Run song should at least be in the top 60. You know
Yeah.
what? You said it before, top 50, top 40. At least a top 50. That's the joke. I've said that a lot now. That's a joke. I got to come up with something else to say.
It's the right word. Number 62 now, Radio Nowhere from the Magic album.
I'm cool with this. Love the Magic album. This is one of the better songs on it. I love his voice in that song. Gets a little deeper, a little raspy.
Right.
I like his voice in that album. Ooh. We got the music going now. We're getting a big game tonight, folks.
Yes.
We are about 45 minutes away from introductions.
It'll be a good one.
Big night here. So they got the music going.
Number 61, Point Blank from the River album.
Powerful song.
I don't really know how much higher it could be,
I'm okay with this.
because now we're going into the top 60. Like, this is where things, I feel like, start to get a little more real.
I love the pictures in this article.
Yeah.
Love the
yeah.
pictures.
Number 60, You're Missing from the Rising album.
I could argue higher. I love that song. Again, I'm partial to that album. After 9/11, I was going to be a senior in high school when this came out. It came out in July of 2002. You're Missing, very powerful. It's a very emotional and sad song. Really strikes us. I'll say I'm okay with it. You could argue for it to be higher.
Well, this segment gets a little more interesting with this song on in the background, 21 Savage playing instead of Bruce, but you know what? We'll keep going.
I don't know who 21 Savage is. Is that the artist?
Yeah, it's the artist.
Slightly different from Bruce
A
Springsteen.
little different.
Never heard of him.
Number 59, Reason to Believe from the Nebraska album. I believe this is the first song.
I wouldn't have
On this
anything
list.
from Nebraska in the top 75.
Really? That's interesting.
Except Atlantic City.
That's a good song. Yeah, Atlantic City.
And Atlantic City in my mind, I'm always like, it's not a Nebraska song because I'm not a big fan of the Nebraska album. It's one of my least favorite albums. Again, I don't want to say I dislike any album because I don't, but it's one of my least favorites. So, too high to me.
Yeah. Number 58, Loose. Sorry.
We'll go to 50 and then we'll stop.
Okay.
Because we got the game coming up, so we'll stop at 50 and then we'll stop at 51, and then we'll go to the top 50 the next time.
Sounds good. 58, Loose Ends from the Tracks album.
Could argue it's too low. Great song, catchy song. I could argue top 50. I think I could argue top 40. So I think a little bit too low.
Number 57.
Too low. Oh, what a great song.
Girls in Their Summer Clothes from the Magic album.
Such a catchy song. I'd say my favorite song from the Magic album. Too low. I think it could make a top 25 case. Definitely top 40.
Number 56, Lucky Town from the album Lucky Town.
Catchy song. Again, I'm thinking catchy here.
Right.
I'm okay with this, but I think you can make a top 50 argument.
Definitely somewhere in that range. Number 55, Independence Day from the River album. Pretty good song. I like it.
Yeah, it's a slower, more melancholy song. I love the lyrics. I think 55 is a good spot for it. I think it's just outside the top 50.
Oh, no. I don't know how you guys feel about this one. Streets of Fire, number 54 from Darkness on the Edge of Town. This is one of my favorite songs from the album, if not my favorite. I think it's a really good song.
There's people who swear by this song as a top Springsteen song, top 10. I'm going to say this is where I'd have it. I'd say you could make a top 50 case, but I'm good with it here.
Love this song, yeah. Streets of Fire. And I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first placement of a song from the Darkness on the Edge of Town album.
Oh.
Number 53, Hungry Heart. Probably another one of his 10 most popular songs.
It's got to at least be top 40. A lot of people have it way up there. I don't. I think it's one of those popular songs that's overrated, but I think it's a top 40.
I don't know if it's in my top 20, 25, but definitely a good song. Probably should be a little higher than 53. All right, 52, I'm Going Down from the
Joke, such a great song. Oh.
Really good song.
Oh, my God. Nah, that's a top 20 for me.
Yeah, I like this song. I'm kind of surprised it's not even in the top 50, top 45. And then I believe this is our last.
And I'm Going Down is a great live, just unreal live. I think underappreciated live.
So our last one for today, number 51, One Step Up from the Tunnel of Love album.
Beautiful song. It's a beautiful love song. Great lyrics. I'm playing the song in my mind as we're talking about it. I'm okay with the spot, though. We're at 51, so we get to 50. We're talking about elite music.
Right.
And then we're talking about all-time great music when we get even higher on the list. Beautiful song. Beautiful album. I'm okay with 51.
Not a bad placement at all. Yeah, no. Hard to argue with that. So that'll be our last placement on this list. We're going to do the second half at some point soon, hopefully.
Yeah, so hopefully next week or sometime soon. Like I said before, Tony, I think I said it to you off air. You guys are doing the music segment now. Great start with it on Tuesday. Great job today. Talk about Bruce. So we'll figure out what we're going to do. You could go to other music topics. We can come back to Bruce. All right, so we'll plan it out. We'll schedule it out. But we'll definitely come back to Bruce soon and continue to go through this list. Eventually, you could share your top 25.
Sure.
I'll keep working on developing a top 25. Jacob will do the same. Tim Figueredo, class of 22. Huge Bruce Springsteen fan. I told the both of you that Tim wants to join us to talk Bruce. So we'll get him on soon, and he'll share with us what he thinks about the best Bruce Springsteen songs. So it's a lot of fun. Folks, thank you for joining us for our In the Vault show today. We did a long show. I think we went for over 2 hours today. A lot in the world of 2 hours and 20 minutes. We had a little bit of break for pizza there, but a great show today. We will be back soon with In the Vault. Soon meaning next week. Definitely in the near future. And before we sign off, I just want to mention again that we have a huge high school basketball game tonight here at Union Catholic. You can hear the music right now. The teams are warming up. You have the Union Catholic Vikings, the varsity boys team, the defending non-public A state champions. This is the non-public A tournament. It is the sectional semifinal of non-public A South. The Vikings are taking on Rutgers Prep, the Argonauts. Rutgers Prep is the number 3 seed in non-public A South. The Vikings are the number 2 seed. Tip-off is 7 p.m. We're going to be back on the air. Jacob, we go about 6:40?
6:40, yeah.
So we'll be back in about 15 minutes for the pregame show, and then tip-off for this game will be approximately 7 p.m. So again, thank you for joining us for In the Vault.